'Cause, do you ever get this when you travel somewhere? You just don't want to come across as an idiot, so you just do a lot of homework on it.
Definitely.
I
And
do that.
the times where maybe you don't get around to it, you really feel like a dumbass
Yeah.
when you're out there and have no
Yeah.
idea like what the
Yeah.
history was.
Yeah. You gotta know the basics. It's a respect thing, especially if you're not speaking their language. But I was looking at Saint Lucia out there in the Caribbean. We learned that last week. It's Caribbean because it was the Carib tribe. So if you're ever wondering if it's Caribbean or Caribbean, it's Caribbean because it was the Carib tribe. How
So
about
who
that?
started saying Caribbean and why?
Americans probably.
Hmm.
Because we're dumb and we don't look anything up and we just say things. And then
Yeah.
we're like, "Oh yeah, that's right because I said it because I'm from Detroit." Center
Off
of
the
the
top of my
universe.
head, I don't know which way I say it, and now I'm confusing
Well, I
myself.
used to say Caribbean.
It's Caribbean.
It sounds I gotta be honest with you. Here's another dumb American take.
You like your way better?
Yeah. I think we got it right. But it's not right.
Yeah!
The Carib
USA! USA!
It's the Carib tribe. It's the Caribbean. Anyways, what was I saying? So I was looking at St. Lucia facts, and they in the 1600s and the 1700s, that island, and there are hundreds of islands down there. I don't know if do you know how many islands there are in the Caribbean?
Oh, I would say off the top of my head, maybe like 100.
Over 700.
Okay.
Did you know that? And St. Lucia has 15 of them.
Oh, see, and here I thought St. Lucia was just one island.
Again, Americans, we just don't pay a lot of attention, do we? Although,
no, I thought the same thing about Fiji, and then I went to Fiji, and it was many islands.
Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah. Oh, I think there's over like 700 individual islands. But
just in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Not in the world.
No, in the Caribbean.
I wonder how many islands there are in the world.
Great question. Look that up. Let's teach geography. Let's teach history today. No sports. What do you guys think? So in the 1600s and the 1700s, St. Lucia changed hands between the British and the French 14 times. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine living in Oregon and you have a different country rules you 14 times? They just switch back and forth over a course of 150, 200 years?
Yeah, just a new, hey, we're the boss now, and here's the new rules.
Yeah, it'd just be exhausting. And who would you rather be ruled by, the French or the British?
Oh,
I can't say I can answer that.
I don't actually know. French have better food.
I like the French accent.
Yeah.
French ladies.
I like the British accent, but I like the French food.
Yeah, I'm going to go French. French influence would be better than British influence.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
But based on absolutely nothing.
Well, based on our tastes.
Sure. Or whatever made-up opinions we have in our head that are probably incorrect.
Well, anyway, 14 times. That's crazy. And so that's why there's Creole down there. Because of the French influence. But English is the official language, but many speak Creole. So we'll see if he knows that when he returns to our program. Allegedly tomorrow, he's going to be all tan. And you know what else I'm jealous about? Is that dude is going to step right into better weather in Portland.
Yeah.
He missed all the bad weather.
Yep.
That's amazing. Because he's been gone 10 days or so.
Mm-hmm.
Last 10 days.
And you come back to basically the same weather you left.
Yeah. It's going to be 80.
That's incredible.
Like, I think, what is today? Tuesday? I think Thursday it's going to be 80. Sunny all weekend.
Yeah, the weekend gets up to like 86 or 87.
God. Do you think that you would be way happier in a sunny, warmer climate?
Not necessarily. I mean,
You don't?
I grew up in California where it was sunnier than it is here by a lot. It's not that Northern California doesn't get their fair share of rain. We absolutely did, but way more sunny days down there than I hear. And I don't know. I'm not one of those people that I feel like the seasons affects too much. I mean, I love the sunshine. It gets me fired up just as much as the next person, but I don't feel like when I don't have it, it's a problem, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think a lot of people, I do. I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, but I don't think they know it.
I think that's also true.
It's hard to recognize it. But I don't know. It'd be an interesting experiment. Maybe someday we'll be able to find out.
I have a figure for you. Number of islands in the world.
Okay, let me guess. Islands in the world planet.
Mm-hmm.
Earth. Ooh. This is going to be tough, guys. I'm going to say there are, in the world, 290,000.
900,000.
God dang it. Ah,
I was going to give you a pretty wide range there, but
that wasn't close.
you're about 700,000 short.
Yeah, I started at 1 million.
That would have been pretty close. I would have
I
given
know,
that to you.
but then I went down from there. I was like, 1 million? Nah. 750? Nah. That's not that many. Damn. I need to go back to school. Well, hey, big radio broadcast today. We've got some cool, hot, topical sports things to discuss with you, including the NBA playoffs. That'll be the subject of our poll question. I'm bringing audio to the table today. We're going to learn about Knicks fans.
Boy.
Not learn. We already know about Knicks fans. They've just been dormy.
Yeah, they've been laying in wait, as it were.
Yeah. And now that they're winning,
They won't shut up.
no, they're
And they're off the rockers.
They're awful. And we have a guy here, Jake, a behind the scenes bro. He's the guy that was Sook trying to like get him a date on the show.
Oh, I can't remember. Well, so
What was that
the
bit?
whole thing came up that Sook played matchmaker for Joe Fisher, and it's with Sook's, it's with BTJ's best friend,
Right.
and so he made that happen. And so then I think you kind of challenged, were like, well, do you do this for just anybody? Could you do it? And Jake was sitting right there, and I think it was
Yeah.
like, well, how about Jake? And
Yeah,
it
Jake.
started that way.
Jake's a New Yorker.
Yeah.
New York City guy. Got the accent and everything. And he's one of our digital bros, because we have a team of digital bros here. And he was not denying that New York fans might be the most obnoxious of all the fans. Because I was asking him about Boston fan. And, of course, knowing he was going to be biased, I'm like, dude, they're the worst. He's like, oh, yeah, they're the worst. I'm like, well, how do you explain this? And I show him the video that we're going to play. And he's like, well, yeah, we're pretty arrogant. I'm like, arrogant? Then if you've seen the videos of the Knicks fans that are floating out there after their wins, it wasn't last night.
Yankees fan is arrogant. Knicks fan is
Oh my God.
deranged.
They're insane.
Yeah.
They're unhinged. And there's like little children flipping off the camera and crotch chopping and telling us to do
SRDs.
awful things to our mothers. And like, God, what are you teaching these children? At any rate, we will discuss that today. And I'm looking through my notes here. Can you guess the top 5 most valuable college athletes?
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll have that.
Huh. I bet I can't, but I'll try.
Do you know what else I learned about St. Lucia?
There's a band called St. Lucia.
Is there?
Yeah.
Are they good?
I saw them play once in San Francisco. They're pretty good.
Man.
Kind of like a synth pop type band.
Do you like coming across random bands? Because
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I really do. I don't do it very often because I don't have a lot of time to go out to shows. But when a band I've never heard of like really gets you, that's an awesome feeling.
So I learned that was it St. Lucia? I always want to call it, I don't know why. I always want to say St. Bart's. He went to St. Lucia. It is the only country in the world named after a woman.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't
That's
know
a cool
that, did you?
distinction.
You didn't know that, did you?
Did not.
St. Lucy. It's named after St. Lucy of Syracuse. And I don't know who she was, but one of one down there in St. Lucia. So Suk will be back tomorrow, and then we'll be back at full strength until we leave on vacation again, which probably isn't for a while. Maybe late June. I'm going to Vegas. Other than that, we're here. Let's party. All right, let's get our poll question in. We'll do that next. It pertains to the NBA. Did you watch? I wanted to get home last night and watch and sit down and watch the T-Wolves and Nuggets, and the T-Wolves are so good they robbed me of that, and I'm not happy about it. I flipped it on and they were up by 30. I was like, what? What?
True story.
It was crazy. So that's where we'll start today's show next on The Fan.
It's back, and it's sure to sell out fast.
yesterday. I think the Big Ten is going to be harder for Oregon and Washington. Dave Bartu weighed in on that, and we will tell you what he said about that. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk some NBA here. It is the subject of our poll question. It is on X at 1080 The Fan. As always, brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling. Family business helping families for over 60 years, AAAIAQ.com. Yesterday, we asked you who is currently the best player in the NBA without a title. We have a dead heat here between Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards. They each got 38%. Joel Embiid only 16%, and then Jason Tatum 8%. Today, which team will win the NBA Finals this year? Timberwolves, Mavs, Celtics, or Thunder? Now, I left the Nuggets off of there because how a day and one other game changes things, doesn't it?
And how?
How we feel about that. Yes, just yesterday we were like, well, actually, I think it was on Stockwatch. You were asking me, hey, will the Timberwolves actually win this series?
Yeah.
And yesterday it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
But you said bye.
I did, yeah. I said they would. But then we saw last night's game, and now we're all like, oh, my God, how does Denver even score 50 the rest of the series?
That was crazy. 80 points?
What's going on there?
Lowest output of the entire season? Well, a buddy put it to me that the guy that constructed the current Timberwolves roster came from Denver and built that roster. So if anyone would know how to stop them, it might be him.
Is that right?
I don't know if this is true. This is what somebody said.
Text message threads with buddies?
Yeah, essentially. But a guy who generally knows his stuff, so I believe it.
Well, I don't know who built what, but I do know that whoever built Minnesota has done a damn good job because, now granted, they had 2 number 1 overall picks in Towns and Anthony Edwards, but, you know, what's really impressive about them is the rest of their team. And we all know how hard that is to build out. You know, you Blazer fans know that well, right? It's not that easy. You get your star or stars, and then, I mean, how long were the Blazers looking for a wing with any sort of length and scoring ability? I mean, 10 years?
Yeah.
15 years?
Maybe more.
These guys, I mean, and I'm not saying these guys are the end all to be all, but when you already have, okay, your big 3, you already have Edwards, Towns, and then Gobert didn't even play last night.
Nope.
But you have him. So you have those guys. But then on top of that, you watch these dudes, and, you know, like the guys like Alexander Walker and McDaniels and Reed.
Yeah, Naz Reed.
God, the length. They are so long. The length and athleticism is just, it's absolutely destroying Denver. I mean, it is, and it's really bizarre. Like, when's the last time we saw a champion that we respected so much with the MVP on it, Jokic, Denver, get just absolutely pummeled? And it's not like it's the finals. It's the second round. So this is...
And by the way, that little tidbit was good. Tim Connolly is their GM. He's been the Timberwolves GM since 2022. He brought over Rudy Gobert, but he was the Nuggets GM from 2013 to 2021. He was responsible for bringing Aaron Gordon over.
Okay, so he drafted Murray.
But he was gone the year before they won it. So it was like, It's almost like they won it with his team.
But he also drafted Jokic. So he was there with Nurkic and Jokic.
Right? If 2013, I'd have to. Yeah, he would be.
And added Murray and.
Yep.
Wow, what's his name?
Tim Connolly.
Does A-Rod own the T-Wolves yet?
No, I thought that they got in the 11th hour they got denied or something like that. They tried to get too cheap or something along those lines.
Yeah, the owner, the seller pulled the rug out from under him. I think
that's right.
I don't even know who the hell owns him, but I tell you, that guy Conley there, he's done a really good job. And you know, I think that too. One thing to mention is when the NBA mid-season realized that they were getting too much scoring and some of these guys were just impossible to stop, they instructed their officials to kind of, you know, let them play a little bit, right? Add a little more physicality to the game, you know, call charges. And that has really brought down the scoring in the league. The numbers are there. I don't have them in front of me, but the numbers prove that once they saw this in the league office and shifted, scoring has gone down. And you've seen some of these games. Both teams aren't even getting to 100 points. So when that happened, it kind of feels to me like there were some teams that would benefit more than others. And it sure seems like the way Minnesota is bowing up to Denver, that Minnesota, with their athleticism and just being allowed to play this physical, it seems like that change that the league made really benefited them. They're allowed to play a more physical game, and they have the length and the athleticism. Unlike, say, I mean, the first team that comes to mind that I think is kind of soft, that wouldn't play physical, it would seem, as much as Minnesota, would be like Phoenix. With Durant and Booker and Beal and those guys. So the Wolves, it seems like they definitely benefited from a more physical game. And to me, basketball is just so much more interesting when you can guard like they're guarding.
It's more fun.
It's both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
And to watch great offensive players like Murray and Jokic, and even good ones like Gordon and Porter and these guys really struggle with that, it tickles me. I'm old school like that.
And it's gotten taken to an extreme, obviously, but there's a reason that nobody likes the All-Star games, because it's just offense and nothing else. And what's impressive about great offensive players, is when they score on good defense. It's when you still have to guard a guy out to 40 feet because he might pop one in your eye, because you have to double a guy because you know exactly what he's going to do. I mean, it adds to the game, absolutely.
Yeah, they're nasty. Minnesota's nasty. So which team will win the NBA Finals? Are we now a day later? Are we now like, Timberwolves probably going to win it all?
No, I honestly probably would have said the Celtics before last night, or excuse me, the Nuggets before last night. I really believed in them. I do not. I'm fully off that bandwagon, so I would have to give the edge to the Celtics now. But you mentioned it yesterday. The team nobody's talking about still.
My Thunder.
The 1 seed, the Thunder.
No one's talking
I think
about.
last night they were like 10-1 to win the title.
Really?
It's great value.
That is good value. They
I don't know that they will. They're going to have a tough time just getting through the Mavs. The Mavs are really good. But
yeah, it's interesting. I view Oklahoma City a little differently than Minnesota. And maybe it's just we're blinded by these 2 games against Denver, and now we're like, oh my God, look at this team. I mean, because the Suns aren't a pushover, are they? Minnesota waltzed right through them. And now these 2 games against Denver reiterate Timberwolves may just be at another level than the Thunder, even though the Thunder are the number 1 seed. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. This other West series, which starts tonight, Thunder Mavs, is going to be great too, because then you got Luka on the other side. But it's crazy how little the Thunder are being talked about. You're right. And the other thing about the Thunder, they've drafted all their key guys.
Yep. Yeah, because for so long they were trading for picks and trading for picks and trading for picks. And then additionally, they hit on a number of those picks.
Well, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think, was 10th or 11th in the draft. Obviously, Chet was number 2. The Williams, they drafted them. And the other thing too is, here's what's crazy about Oklahoma City. They have 11 first-round picks over the next 4 drafts.
Yeah, they're still stockpiled.
11.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of those are protected. Okay, so they won't all transfer over, but they still have a ton of draft capital, and they can move that, add pieces. But they've got a lot of.
Yeah, you're right. 11th overall for Shai.
For Shai, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He was 11th. Think about that. He's an MVP candidate. He's one of the 3 MVP finalists. We'll find out who wins MVP tomorrow night. But it's Luka, him, and Jokic. And that brings you back to the Blazers, where it's so frustrating. It's like, 11th, it's not like top 3, 4, 5, 11. You had 11 multiple times, or better than 11 multiple times. You haven't gotten a player close to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Zach Collins was 10, right?
Collins was 10. You traded up to get him. I mean, obviously the only player you've drafted that hit really well, all-star well, was obviously Lillard. What was he, 6, I think? But
yeah, that's right.
So the Blazers are going to have a top 5 pick, likely going to have a top 5 pick this year. Sharp was 7, and Scoot was 3. And I don't know how. I mean, look, it's too early to draw any conclusions about those 2 guys. But you add another young guy this year. That should be. I mean, You have, in other words, the point is you have to hit in the draft.
Oh, you know what though?
That should be enough.
The YouTube line correctly pointing out that Gilgeous Alexander was actually drafted by the Clippers. He was not a career Thunder guy. He was with the Clippers first.
Did he get traded?
I believe he did.
Or was it draft night trade?
I don't know. I think he played for the Clippers. Let's see.
Really?
I think
Can't say
so.
I knew that.
It says he was drafted by the Hornets. I don't think he ever played for them.
Like Kobe.
But let's look here.
Yeah, I don't know his history.
Yep, he played for the Clippers in 2018 and 2019.
Okay. They didn't draft him. Okay. I stand corrected. But they've drafted a lot of the other guys. They drafted Chet.
And they got him before he became an MVP candidate, too. I mean, you still have to have the foresight to know that guy's going to be a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think it all just comes back to the draft for the most part. Minnesota, they've drafted, they obviously acquired Gobert, but they had 2 number 1 picks and got them both right. They got Towns and they got Edwards, and they drafted, I'm trying to think of who else. They draft McDaniels. It's hard to, I don't remember. I don't remember who they drafted. I'm gonna go look that up. Matter of fact, I may have that for tomorrow's show.
I also have topical A-Rod trying to buy the Timberwolves news.
Like topical?
As in, like, filed like 6 hours ago. They're going to court.
What is the freaking Panthers doing?
Yeah, he's they're taking Glenn Taylor to arbitration, according to a report. Glenn Taylor is the majority owner of the Timberwolves.
He won't sell it to him now.
It's apparently the deal is off after A-Rod and his partner Mark Lore failed to make the third payment of $520 million to increase their stake to 80% of the team, and then the owner was like, "Well, no, I'm not going to give you the team then." And so they're like, wait, we still want the team. We're willing to pay for it. So that's where we are.
Fighting. I wonder if the price just goes way up if they win a title.
Oh, I would imagine.
You know,
I don't know about way up, but it would have to go up.
Yeah, they're saying he was the main piece of the Paul George trade.
Yeah, there you go.
For OKC.
Yeah, okay.
But it's like you can't hit them all, but when you do get those high draft picks, you really gotta be good with those. And the Blazers, I mean, Lillard obviously really good hit, but I don't know how much confidence you have about Scoot, Shaden, number 3 and number 7. Outside of since Lillard, outside of Scoot and Shaden, it's too early. But then you would have the other number 1 pick, first round picks you would have be CJ, good pick, but not an all-star. Zach Collins, disaster. Myers Leonard, disaster. Other first-round picks I'm trying to think of that they had. Caleb Swanigan, first round, maybe. You got to hit at a better rate than that. At any rate, Oklahoma City, Dallas tonight. Which team will win the NBA Finals this year? Timberwolves, Mavs, Celtics, Thunder. Vote hard. Poll question is at 1080 The Fan on.
And yes, Caleb
X.
Swanigan was a first rounder.
Yeah, he was like late first round, wasn't he? What other first round picks have the Blazers had?
Rondé Hollis Jefferson was 23rd.
But they traded him. That's
right. CJ McCollum was 10th.
Yeah, that was.
Myers was 11th, like you mentioned.
Let me stop there. CJ McCollum. You have to say that was a good draft pick, right?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, not an all-star, but
wasn't that the Bam year though, or was that?
That I would have to look and see.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's hard to like. Dame and CJ had a great run, but flawed from the beginning because they're undersized guards. But they had a great run. Some good nights at the Moda Center. Made the West Finals once.
Got swept by my Warriors.
Yeah, they ran into a real team. But outside of that, there's just I'm trying to think of other first-round picks, and they didn't have a ton of them.
No, it's not a lot of them were in the. They were good for a while, so a lot of them were in the 20s ranges, where you don't necessarily expect a lot of success. Like, I mean, obviously, so after Odin, they had.
Well, there's a fit right there.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and you may say, well, the Timberwolves had 2 number 1 picks. Yeah, but they got them right. You had a number 1 pick, and you didn't.
Yeah, and the year before that, or 2 years before Odin, they used it on Martell Webster. 6th.
Yeah, that was they traded.
They got Webster from Utah, right?
Yeah, there's something in there about if they didn't make that trade, they don't get Roy or something. There's so much that begats something else, and it's a whole thing. But I'm just saying since Lillard.
Yeah, so since
So you
Lillard,
drafted Lillard. You hit on Lillard.
That same draft class was
2000
Myers Leonard. 5 picks later,
Yeah.
they took Leonard.
Yeah, that was a bad one. So that was 2011 or 12.
That's 12.
Okay.
In 13, they take McCollum.
Okay, and that was not the Bam year. That was Giannis went 6 or 7 picks later.
Okay. And then they had 3 more second-round picks, but they're all late. Then they did not have any picks in 14. In 15, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, who they traded to Brooklyn. So they didn't get their own pick there.
I want to say they got Plumlee out of that deal.
Oh, that could be right. Then you have the following year.
The Mason Plumlee plan.
17, you get Zach Collins. That's where you gave up 15 and 20 to get him.
And that was the Bam year.
And
So right there, dude, you could have had Damian Lillard, Bam Adebayo, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now that's
well, and who else got drafted?
That's revisionist
in the range. The other thing is, what if you had hit with your 11th overall pick the same year you hit with Lillard and you didn't take Myers? I don't know who else was there for that one, but if you double dip on that draft and then you also get Bam. Yeah,
well, I mean, but right
different.
in there was your chance.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. The point is that's it. And then after that, I don't think they had a ton of good first-round picks until
it was,
you get
so it was in
Tank City.
Yeah, then in 2018, Ant Simons. In 2019, Nasir Little. 2020,
Little. There you go.
They trade that away.
There's another one. Failed there. Again,
25th overall,
20s.
Late, but
I understand that. But, some of these guys that
and
are
then
helping.
Shaden Sharp 7.
But some of these guys that are helping these teams, the McDaniels or the Williams these guys aren't all lottery picks, right? I mean, Denver found an MVP in the second round, and I'm not saying you should do this. What I am pointing out is that one, Denver, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota are all in small markets, just like you, and two, they've hit at a much higher rate than you. I mean, if you really want to point the finger, it's that. It's the Blazers in the draft since Lillard. It has not worked out nearly enough at a good enough clip. But with Oklahoma City and Minnesota and Denver, it has. And that's why they are where they are. Now the Blazers, again, not ready to give up on this rebuild yet. You got young guys. You got Scoot. You got Sharp. Simons was a first-round pick. There's another one we missed. Simons. And that was good. Not great, but good. He's a part of your team. So you get another one next year and see what they can build. But Oklahoma City, that's the demoralizing thing. They have 11 more first-round picks the next 4 drafts. It's crazy. So if I'm going to vote, I think I'm still going to vote Celts. Getting it this year.
I think so too. That's where my vote would go.
But let's this Mavs Thunder series is going to be really good. And let's see if the Timberwolves get out of the West. Sure feels like it now, doesn't it? Now it's like, well, let's fast forward to Timberwolves Celtics. Makes me look like an idiot. Just last week, I was like, come on, let's just fast forward to Denver and Boston and get it over with. Well,
early returns, says the masses, like the T-Wolves.
Do they? All right.
By a hair.
We'll tell you how that poll finished up tomorrow. Coming up next, are we sleeping on Knicks fan as the worst? Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the Fan in the association tonight, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the top-seeded Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Celtics will be without Kristaps Porzingis, while Cavs big man Jarrett Allen is questionable. It'll be a game-time decision. They tip it off at 4 o'clock on TNT. Boston favored by 12.5. At 6:30, the 1-seed Thunder host Luka and the Mavs for Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. OKC is favored by 3.5. On the ice, the Portland Winterhawks are the WHL's Western Conference champs after beating Prince George in double OT last night to take Game 6 and clinch the series. Portland now awaits the winner of Saskatoon Moose Jaw in the Eastern Conference. In the NHL, the Rangers looking to take a 2-0 series lead over the Hurricanes at the Garden tonight. Puck drops at 4 o'clock on ESPN. And in the Western Conference, game one between the Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars, that one at 6:30, also over on the Sports Leader. The Mariners look to bounce back from last night's loss to the Twins with Emerson Hancock on the hill tonight. Bailey Ober is on the bump for the Twins. First pitch from Minnesota at 4:40. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's back. The 10th Annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Thursday, July 11th. Presented by Autotown GMC. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com.
Want concert quality sound for your vehicle? No one does it better than the experts at Car Toys. Get free installation on Kenwood Apple CarPlay and Android Auto Receiver starting at just $299. Plus a free backup camera with any Kenwood receiver from $399. Our experts can also radically improve your sound without touching your dash. Get a simple speaker swap or a full audio upgrade. Visit one of our 48 stores and cartoys.com for the drive you deserve.
Car Toys, a better way to go.
Barbara is a real Prevagen user, and this is her story.
I'm Barbara, and I'm from St. Joseph, Michigan. I'm a retired school librarian. I'm also a library board trustee, a mother of two, and a grandmother of two. I like to be healthy. I exercise a lot. I eat in a very healthy manner. I was working full-time, taking care of an ailing husband full-time. In short, I had an awful lot on my plate. Basically, I thought that my memory wasn't as good as it had been. I needed all the help I could get. I saw the commercials for Prevagen, I started taking it, and it helped.
This is the band St. Lucia right here. Little track called Elevate. Isachi. Goes with the Isachi brand.
It feels like it could be part of your fragrance commercial, you know?
Yeah, baby.
Talking NBA here. We'll get to Knicks fans in a moment. Here's a text on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. VancouverFord.com. Not sure if you guys have done this already, but I think it would be interesting to revisit some of the quotes from Anthony Edwards as he was coming out of college. The arrogance and confidence, we all thought it was a little over the top. No, that's right. I remember talking about it. Like, the guy's a goofball.
I don't remember what the quotes were, but I do remember that he was. I may stop short of saying a little full of himself, but the confidence was brimming over, and he didn't have a whole lot body of work wise to fall back on.
He was a lot full of himself, and he's always been a really big personality. Remember, we were telling you that, read a story about him that said that he was a football player. He was a running back, and I guess in maybe even middle school, like 8th grade or something, or early in high school, people would. I don't remember where he's from, what state. Maybe he's from Georgia.
I think he's from Georgia.
People would come from all around to watch him play running back. They had compared him to like Barry Sanders. He was amazing. But then he realized with his athleticism, the basketball coach wanted him to come out and play basketball, and he realized it was an easier route to money. And so he went and watched. So he refused to learn the game of basketball the way the coaches wanted to teach him. He said, I got this.
I'm just going to wing it on physical skill alone, kind of?
Well, no, he said, I'm going to watch YouTube highlights.
Oh, that's right. Right.
He is from the generation of not really watching basketball, not really knowing the game, just emulating highlights from YouTube. And that's what he did. And if you watch his game, I mean, not everybody can do that. Like, I couldn't do that. I mean, I could try.
No, it takes a special athlete to be able to see that and then put it into practice.
But he's such a freak athlete, he's able to do that. That's how he became such a great basketball player.
And that's why when you see some of these side-by-sides, I guess, of him and Michael Jordan backing defenders down and doing a turnaround jumper like fadeaway, and they look so similar, probably because he learned it from that exact clip.
That's right. You can watch his game and see a lot of different players in what he does. Kobe Bryant as well. And he did the shrug last night, by the way. Did you see that? He did the Jordan shrug. And he's also, see, he talks a lot, but now he's backing it up, so everybody thinks he's fun. It's funny how when you're a big personality, and he's always been a big personality, you get criticized for it if you haven't done anything. But now once you start accomplishing things on the court, now it's like, wow, he's eccentric and wild and crazy and fun and great for the league. Well, this texter is right. A couple of years ago when he was coming out of the draft, we were all like, I don't know about this guy. As a matter of fact, there were some teams, and they may have talked about it on Inside the NBA, there were teams that passed on him. Well, he was the number 1 overall pick, but I mean, they weren't in love with him because of his attitude. They didn't know if he really loved the game, and he was kind of a goofball and very arrogant, and maybe there wasn't as much to back that up. Well, there is a lot to back that up. He's showing that. But he's also a guy who says, "Oh, I don't want the MJ comparisons," and then he goes out a day later and does the MJ shrug. Well, then stop doing that. Okay, so
and I don't think he actually doesn't want it. I think I almost feel like he's feigning the humility, like doing the aw shucks thing right now. Like, dude, you've arrived. You're here. You're a star. You love the limelight. I just think he's not willing to say, "Yeah, I love the MJ comparisons. Bring it."
Yeah, but he's also crotch chopping people.
Sure is.
Like he's smiling out there. Like he's a blast to watch. But I bring that text up because I was just looking at a list today, and I think Dusty and Danny were going through this too. But it's the somebody put out a list of the best number 1 overall recruits ever. And he was a number 1 overall recruit out of high school. Ended up going to Georgia, didn't do much there, and then was the number 1 overall pick in the NBA. But Anthony Davis is number 1 on the list, and rightly so. Ant Edwards is already number 2. Number 3 is Ben Simmons. And that's why I bring up that text, because Ben Simmons, albeit in a different way, had the same sort of character red flags that Anthony Edwards did. Again, they're very different. Simmons was a little bit more too cool for school, immature, although Edwards was immature and maybe still is a bit. And there was the love of the game question. So it just shows you how hard it is to get it right. Ben Simmons and Anthony Edwards have all the talent in the world, But when you're drafting these guys, I can totally see how teams wouldn't want to touch either one of those guys.
Or at least would be skittish with such a high pick. Like,
right.
not
But
being
now,
100% sold on that part.
But now you look at it, and Edwards, it's like, why would you even think that about Edwards? Well, there were a lot of reasons to think that about Edwards.
Yeah, but now you're like, why would he not have been that great? He
Yeah.
said it. We should have seen it.
And then Simmons, you look at and go, well, of course we thought that about Simmons. Look at him. He's a bum. He's a baby. He's, all this stuff. So it's just hard. It's when they're that young and they're showing those red flags, it's really hard. But that's an interesting comparison. You got the best number 1 overall recruits ever. Again, this is out of high school. Anthony Davis 1. Ant Edwards is already 2. Ben Simmons 3. Andrew Wiggins is 4. And Chet Holmgren is 5. And, of course, Chet, he'll fly up the list as he continues on. And Edwards is on track to pass Anthony Davis, probably needs to win a title eventually. And then he will be the best number 1 overall recruit ever. Kind of an interesting, kind of an interesting list. All right. Well, now we have to break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Knicks fans. It's 3:48 on the Fan.
The home of dirt and
By the way, late breaking, we get MVP tomorrow. It'll be either Jokic, Doncic, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Tonight they announced Defensive Player of the Year, and it is Rudy Gobert. So he wins it for the 4th time. So now to Knicks fans. I've got a little audio to play for you. The Knicks, by the way, that's a game we've yet to talk about. Last night's game, that was a game. Pacers-Knicks. We caught the end of it here as our show was wrapping up. I thought the Pacers absolutely got hosed. Not once, but twice, as that was not a kickball. And I don't know how on earth you call that foul. And I'm stunned that Rick Carlisle hasn't murdered that ref. Rick Carlisle he's like next to Pop, who's probably calmed down a little bit in his old age. Carlisle's the biggest hothead in coaching.
Would you like to hear from Rick Carlisle?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what he said about it.
Here's what he said about not getting whistles late.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the officiating. We're not expecting to get calls in here. It'd be nice if they laid off that one, but they didn't. So that's just the way it goes. I mean, we challenged it, they reviewed it, they got a bunch of people in New Jersey that agreed with them, so that's just the way it goes. So we got to learn from that too. That's a timing play. Both guys are involved, so we'll have to execute that better next time.
Wow, that's not the Rick Carlisle I remember.
No, you thought he might get fined there for doing something a lot different.
That guy's an ass. But it's hard, I mean, he had some restraint there. That you can't call that with the game on the line. Get out of here with that. And by the way, DiVincenzo diving like that is pretty ballsy, considering somebody's gonna be open. You're laying on the ground trying to get that call. You should never get that call. And
it's a little reminiscent of the women's game. Remember the whole Paige Buckets thing? Remember that screen that kind of was all controversial?
Yeah. That one, I think this one was a worse call.
I think so. I thought that one was the right call. I think this one was a little way more in the gray area.
Dude, you think that was gray? I mean, look, it was by the letter of the law. They reviewed it, like he said. I mean, he was moving.
I thought that he was moving a little bit, and he kind of got his hip in there a little bit. But it's one of those things you expect in that moment for that not to get called. But then the person who's on the other side of that argument says, well, if it should get called not in that moment, then it should get called in that moment as well.
I don't know. I think late in games you swallow your whistle on.
I don't disagree,
things.
but people who are about the rules are like, if it's a foul in the first minute, it's a foul in the last minute.
But that's not right. I disagree with that premise. That is not.
But that's
true.
how the officials are told to officiate.
Okay. Well, again,
I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they're trying to do.
Fine. That's how they called it. This little guy here in Portland thinks that was stupid. And by the way, I don't have a dog in that fight. It's just hard to play that well and come out with a loss, particularly on the road, when you had two things really screw you in the end. I mean, Indiana, from what I saw, and the game was on mostly on while we were in here doing the show, so I didn't see the whole game. But what I saw, everybody always talks about how Indiana can't defend. I thought their defense was really good.
It was especially good early
when I was watching it. So that's a tough L. More importantly, Knicks fans have been making the rounds, and, they've been dormy. So teams have to win for us, at least out on the West Coast, to really start to pay attention to how obnoxious their fans are, right? Like Boston, they win all these titles. The Patriots, the Bruins won in there. The Red Sox won a couple. They win all these titles, Celtics even. And we are inundated with their douchebag fans, and we have long made fun of Boston sports fan here. Okay, well, Philly fan, crazy as hell. New York fan has been dormy because they just. I mean, when was the last time a New York team won anything? I mean,
it's got to be the Yankees, right?
Well, what year was that? When's the last time the Yankees won the World Series? I mean, you had the Subway Series, obviously. I don't remember what year that was. It wasn't too long ago. But the Knicks haven't done anything forever. And so you just look, I don't think they're
2009. So you 13 years? No. What's that, 15 years?
Yeah, you really only have the Giants, the football Giants, who won a couple titles. But
the Rangers won recently at all?
That you're asking the wrong guy. Even though I'm the hockey scribe here at the Fan.
And kind of a cool thing I saw, Madison Square Garden hosting 4 games in 4 nights. It's Rangers, Knicks, Rangers, Knicks. Started on Sunday and it'll go through Wednesday.
I will say there's a lot of juice to that building. I mean, that when people tell you out in sports land, when they tell you that the Rose Bowl is special, believe them. It is special. And I haven't been to Madison Square Garden, but when they tell you it's special, you can sort of see that on TV. Like it just enough people say that's it's a special place.
And the Rangers haven't won the Cup since '94, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so New York's just kind of been dormant.
They've been starving.
So here are their so now what people are doing, the Knicks they win one damn series. And people go out on the street, you know how they put together the little social media videos of their fans celebrating. Here is one for the Knicks. They call it side talk videos, like sidewalk videos after the game.
Joel Embiid, come take these hands, bitch! We don't need cheesesteaks! That's Philly cheesesteaks! Big Mill! Joe Biden! Yo, Philly, you can feel these nuts! When catch you in Philly, we gon' you up! I'll wipe my ass with that DB! Smoke some weed! Let's go! Let's go! Joel Embiid, we sending your ass to China, so get ready to pack the fuck up! Yo, let's go talk to the Italian Italian! We are the New York Knicks! Suck on the New York! Go, New York, go, New York, go! If I had a sister, I'd let Jalen Brunson and the entire New York Knicks run a fucking train on her.
Oh my God! What on earth? What on earth? Who are these Neanderthals?
The
My
last
God.
person is fantasizing about having a sister so that the Knicks team could do something depraved to her.
Did I hear?
Like what?
Was there an F. Joe Biden in there? I heard
Yeah,
that
because
F.
he's from Philadelphia.
Oh,
He's from
right, okay.
Pennsylvania.
That's
It was F Philly cheesesteaks and F Joe Biden, I think.
God, and there were kids in there?
Yeah, the first kid said, "Hey, Embiid, come get these hands, bitch."
God, man. It's just, if you had to power rank Boston, Philly, New York fan, now that New York fan is back in the lexicon and they've re-entered the chat, like how would you power rank that?
What is the criteria? Is like best fan, worst fan?
Worst.
Worst fan?
Okay, let's put it this way. Who is the most, power rank them based on obnoxiousness?
See, and here's the thing where it's going to be tough to distinguish. I would have to say Boston, but I think that's because we've heard from them the most because they've won the most championships recently, and they don't shut up about it. But those other, Philly has won some championships. The Eagles, the Phillies, they've gotten there. I think Philly fan, they have the throw batteries at Santa crowd. They get violent, but I think Boston more obnoxious, and New York really hasn't had the opportunity recently to be obnoxious. So I'm going to say Boston.
I agree. I'm going to go Boston, New York, Philly in obnoxiousness. Now, rank arrogance.
Ooh.
See, now I'm going to go New York.
Which is funny because they have the least to be arrogant about recently.
Yeah, but they'll always tell you how many titles the Yankees
Sure, of course. Yeah, I think that's still right. I think there's an elitism about New York above those other cities as well.
100%. So I'm going to go, in arrogance, I'm going to go New York 1. I'm going to go Philly 2, Boston 3. And then the last one would be crazy. Like, who's the craziest? And that's Philly, right?
I think it might be Philly, but then you see something like this from the Knicks fans, and you're like, I don't know, is Sixers fan doing that? Sixers fans were having their own building taken over by Knicks fans last week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
But if you're talking football, probably Eagles fans I would take over either Giants or Jets.
They're crazy.
Fans.
I have a friend that lives. He's from New York, and he lives now in Philly, and he has talked to me about this many times, and he said, dude, you have no idea. You get a little bit of it in the media. Philly fans, they're crazy. Like, he goes to Phillies games, baseball games. He's like, dude, there are some of these dudes, you do not mess with them. Like, it's another level of insane. They're angry. That's what it is. They're angry. So I'm going to go Philly, on that scale, I'm going to go Philly 1, New York 2, Boston 3. So I think Boston's the most obnoxious, New York's the most arrogant, and Philly is the craziest.
I think that's probably right, although New York's showing a lot of crazy recently, especially when it comes to the Knicks.
Well, let's see if the Knicks keep going. We'll keep an eye on this power ranking.
And we're likely to get a New York versus Boston in the next round, assuming Boston takes care of business
Very true.
with Cleveland.
Who do we side with? I got to side with New York.
Oh, you have to. I mean, I'm here for whatever sideshow this is with their fans.
I am too. Yeah.
And I've got a buddy who lives in New York right now, and he says they're like this after every playoff win, not just the series win. Game 1, they're
Any
like this.
game,
They're like any game they win in the playoffs right now. It's a freaking party outside
You
of the
piece
streets.
of garbage.
That's what they get it from. They get it from listening to guys like Don LaGreca.
Probably.
Boyd's ass.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
They're so high tea and angry. God, calm down. You won one series. All right, we'll get to some college football. Big Ten versus Pac-12. Which is harder for the Ducks and the Huskies? Dave Bartu has weighed in on that. We touched on this yesterday, but he texted me. I wanted to relay that to you. We'll get to that coming up next hour on The Fan. That's right. Prime time with Isaac and Souk on 1080 The Fan. What's up? It's me, Isaac.
What do you think?
Big Souk will be back tomorrow. Sign up for the 10th annual Fan Golf Classic. We're going to play it this year on Thursday, July 11th. Once again at Langdon Farms. It's presented by Autotown GMC. I was talking to Ryan Cooley, who heads it up yesterday. He said it's about half full right now. So if you sign up your foursome right now, you pay $650. It gets you all the food and bev and all the hilarity and hijinks and your round of golf. That's $650 for an entire foursome, and you can play in the morning or the afternoon. That's Thursday, July 11th. Sign up at 1080thefan.com. I was thinking about the Knicks audio we just played, and Buck has found one of Philly fan, because we were comparing and contrasting Boston, Philly, and New York sports fans. He's found one of Philly fan when the Phillies, lost in the World Series?
No, this would have been when they lost in the NLCS this last year to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who were on their way to the World Series. So,
Okay.
I haven't seen Philly basketball fan like this, but I've definitely seen Philly baseball and football fan like this. This is something.
Let's see what people got to say. We had home field for 2 games. 2 games. And you let them come here and beat us?
Phillies need to sell Trey Turner. That guy's a fucking idiot. We went farther without that guy. Fuck the Phillies, honestly.
Trade the whole fucking team. This team fucking blew today. I want to say that I'm fucking depressed. I had to ask 9 people for this fucking cigarette.
Philly fans, we always stink.
Disappointment.
Oh, man, that was just straight garbage.
This sucks.
I hope they never fucking play a baseball game again. Fire Topper. Topper! What's up, man?
Feeling like I want to go lay in traffic.
All them bitch-ass motherfuckers I couldn't get a hit when we motherfucking needed it. I love how we spent $700 million for guys that go 0 for 12 combined. Let's go Jets.
It's a good point. I'm feeling good because, we still got the birds.
Go Birds!
Go Birds.
Hit the fucking ball, man. Come on, really? Hit the fucking ball.
Overpaid.
Fuck that.
Hey, wait, where'd you get this banana?
From a homeless guy.
Hey, how do we feel about Dancing on My Own as a song moving forward?
You gotta cut it.
Time to retire it. Find something new.
Still fires up the crowd.
Well, I'm pretty sure it didn't work this year, so it's gotta go.
Fucking on. I'm crying instead of dancing.
I get shitty ass song. They need to ditch that shit.
I don't want to hear that song ever again. How about you shut up?
Wow. I like the old lady. My favorite in there was she sounded like an old lady. Overpaid a-holes.
Yeah, she was good. Also, the younger woman who's like, I want to go lay in traffic.
Now, it's hard to compare. The Knicks one we played, they're jubilant.
They're after a win.
Yeah,
it's
they
just
totally
won
the
different tenor.
series. I think that they're all going to be similar to that when they're angry, when they lose a big game. So, I don't know, man. What do you think the Blazers fans would sound like? It wouldn't sound much like that. I can tell you that.
No, there'd be about 20 people that sounded like that. Or maybe.
I mean, are we talking a win or a lot? Like a Blazers championship?
I don't feel like we don't have that on the West Coast.
It
Like
would
I
be
don't, and not just Portland. Like I don't think we have it really anywhere on the West Coast, save for maybe what used to be Oakland Raider fan. But
yeah, you Giants fans are pretty obnoxious.
Obnoxious,
You're
sure,
elitist.
but when they lose, no one's going off the rails like that.
Yeah, so we're talking about a loss here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but even in a win, I don't think we're screaming about.
I'll say this:
sucking our. What?
Well, yeah, I think I agree that the West Coast just doesn't have that, which is why it's so fascinating to us. And there's good and bad to both. But I would say after a loss, I don't think if you took every U.S. city and their fans and did that 2-minute video, side talk video for every city in the United States, I'm confident saying this. After a huge loss, let's say the Blazers Game 7 of the NBA Finals, the Portland one would be the most kind.
Like the most kind or the most tame, or both?
Both. It would be the least biting of any of them. I'm confident saying that.
Of any NBA city?
Yeah, I think Blazer fan would be like, oh, God, man, tough game, bro, but, I don't know why I'm suddenly Hispanic, but, I don't know. I just think they'd be like, we'll get them next year. Love the team. Great effort by the boys.
I'm just happy they got there. We've been waiting a long time for this.
They'd be like, get it past the weed, Yeah, this is really disappointing.
I have a hard time seeing Charlotte fan get very fired up, mostly because they don't show up to anything.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Well,
like Portland.
What about Pelicans fan? Pelicans fan doesn't care.
Well, okay, so that you bring up a good point. Blazer fan, I think they're very passionate. We all know that. They're a very passionate fan base. You're right. There are some fan bases that just aren't even passionate. And so maybe that would mean that Portland's side talk video would be worse. I still think Blazer fan is just so overly rosy, even in times of dread, that I think their side talk video would be pretty tame. But you're right. There are some cities where it would probably be hard to even do that video. They'd be like, you're walking out of the Pelicans Game 7 loss, and you're just looking for fans that would be good to put on a video. And you might not find many.
And the
They're
funny
like,
thing
"What?
there is
Who
I think
cares?"
that if it was a Saints game, you'd get that, but
Yes,
not
Saints,
for
right. Yes.
NBA.
Yeah.
So it's funny the way different cities revere different sports too. So
All right. Well, we've spent entirely too much time on that. Coming up next, what's going to be harder for the Huskies and the Ducks in college football, the Big Ten or the Pac-12 schedule? 4:15 on the Fan.
A surprise.
Boston fan, New York fan, Philly fan. What would Blazer fan be like after a gut-wrenching Game 7 NBA Finals loss? Text line, Vancouver Ford text line said, somebody said you'd just hear sadness from Portland fans, not anger. And I think that's right. You'd get a lot of sadness and disappointment, but, the world will go on. Somebody said they have side talk videos from a few years back when Trae Young beat the Knicks in the playoffs. You got to hear those. Do I want to hear those? I think I've heard enough from those rubes.
Yeah, that was probably enough. Knicks fan for one day.
And then another texter says, you had the Weiner line back in 2000, and you had lots of crazy calls after the Blazers' collapse against the Lakers. It was on par with Phillies fans there. How about that? I wonder if we can, you think we can drum that up?
What are we trying to find?
Well, it's the Weiner line. We used to have something called the Weiner line. This was way before your tenure.
I can look.
Yeah, see if you can find the. I mean, I doubt the audio's in there, but yeah, we used to have the Weiner line. You just call at any hour of the day, drunk as a skunk, and just tell us your thoughts, and we play some fun ones on the air.
It looks like there are a couple here. I have to preview them to see if it's something that we put together or if they're actually calls from people. So
you get in there. Also, I think it would be cool. Maybe see if on another front, you could find. Is there? I mean, I've seen the videos of the championship celebrations at the Coliseum when the Blazers won in 1977. It would be cool to find old, probably TV clips of fan reaction to that, fan jubilation, and we'll compare it to New York.
Yeah, we don't have them. We just have our promotions for telling people to call the Weiner line.
Yeah, I can't imagine we kept that. At any rate, on to college football. Yesterday I was talking about what Dan Lanning is building at Oregon. Very, very, very high on it. And I was asking the question, will it be harder to win in the Big Ten than the Pac-12? And I said all along, I think the Big Ten's much deeper and tougher. Now, this past season, Pac-12 was legit, but it isn't always like that. And, of course, it does vary year to year generally. But I think for the most part, Big Ten gets better players, up and down rosters, tougher environments, tougher weather, and I think it's deeper. So, therefore, I think it's going to be harder for Oregon and Washington in the Big Ten. Now, Joey Harrington disagrees with me, and he thinks it's about the same. So, Bartu was listening yesterday, College Football Matrix, and he texted me, and he said,
"Give us the data."
Yeah, it's all about data, and the way he looks at it is, how many top 25 recruiters are you going up against in either league? And he said there is 1 in the Pac-12. There are 6 in the Big Ten.
Ooh.
So it's not close. And when I'm thinking about those 6, obviously it's Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, probably Wisconsin, top 25 recruiter.
Probably.
Maybe Iowa.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who that would...
Who else would it be in there? And again, that varies year to year too. But
Michigan State.
Maybe Michigan State. Maybe. But anyway, he said the perceived difficulty in the Ducks going to the Big Ten is just that Oregon is now a top recruiter in the nation. They're a top 5 recruiter. So because of that, you look at it and go, well, it should be about the same. Well, it's not going to be about the same. It's not. And it's going to be much tougher in the Big Ten. That's not to say that the Ducks can't get through there unscathed, because they are recruiting better than everyone in the Big Ten, not named Ohio State, which is really wild to say. So that's why maybe we are not really making that big of a deal of the move from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. But if you go, dang man, go 3 years back, go back to the year before Dan Lanning took over. And if I were to ask this question, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, dude, Big Ten, that's gonna be tough. We want it. It's good for the program. They'll make more money, but it's gonna be a lot tougher." Well, I think our tune has changed because Oregon is recruiting so well, but it's
no,
gonna be tough.
I absolutely would have viewed it as that's the necessary move to make for survival, but it's going to be an uphill battle. And now it's like, well, they should be able to handle that.
Well, and next year, too, the other thing about it is this next year is the only Big Ten schedule we have to go off of. Oregon got a pretty good draw. I mean, so we've gone through this a million times already, but it's not even June. We're jonesing for college football here, but the Big Ten schedule is at UCLA, and they were just gutted. They host Michigan State and Ohio State.
Win.
They're
Well,
at
Michigan State, that is. Maybe not Ohio State.
yeah, look at you. Already chalking up the Buckeyes.
No, not doing that.
It's your
that
toughest,
should be a great ball game.
It's your toughest game by far, and it is at Autzen. And then at Purdue, home to Illinois, at Michigan, who got gutted, home to Maryland, at Wisconsin, and then you host Washington. And again, the way Oregon is recruiting, that seems manageable. Now you go look at Washington. Now think about it from Washington's perspective. Those guys got gutted, and they are going to play Northwestern at home, at Rutgers, home to Michigan. Then they're at Iowa, at Indiana, versus USC, at Penn State, host UCLA, and at Oregon. I just think those games like at Iowa, even at Indiana.
Yeah, going to
games
Bloomington.
Like that.
Yeah, a lot of these games might be one of those, like, what do they call them, the bring your own juice kind of games, and some of them just they're in tougher conditions later in the year.
Yeah, like for Oregon, we're gonna overlook the Wisconsin game, dude. You're going to Wisconsin.
Going to Camp Randall's no joke.
In November. With a lot on the line, as Harrington always talks about with us, it's like as you get into November, things change because you see the finish line. If you're undefeated or you've got your eye on the prize, the conference championship or whatever it is, it gets harder and harder to win because one, more teams are gunning for you, knowing that, and two, you know it, and it's tough, and you get tight. And so, how many times have we seen Oregon drop a game late in the schedule, usually in November in the Pac-12? They lose at Arizona or Arizona State or wherever. You tell me Wisconsin? That's a nasty one. November 16th.
And that's going to be a nasty one every time you have to play it.
Well, I think there's games like that.
More like that for sure
in the Big Ten. At any rate, that's what he said. I don't know. This would be a question for another day. But as strong as Oregon is right now and has been recruiting, and as much as people like Dan Lanning for the future, young coach, but he's got a lot of pieces in place. Is it okay to expect a national title in Dan Lanning's tenure, however long that lasts? Expect that. Will it be disappointing if they don't win one? Or is there some old school Oregon fan in there that's, that just it's enjoying the ride? I don't know. That's a question for another day, but it's one worth talking about.
I think that
Oregon's in a window.
I'm not sure that all those things are mutually exclusive either. I think that you can possibly expect it, but if you don't get it, still enjoy the ride. So
yeah, I just wonder right, that's true. I think my question is now going to be, where are expectations for the Oregon football program?
Yeah.
Jumping into the Big Ten. Are they even higher now? Or have they hit their ceiling?
Have they diminished? Did you think your team had a better chance of winning a conference title before you went to the new conference? Like, were you more likely than winning? You're probably more likely to win the Pac-12 than you were to win the Big Ten, right?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I think a few years ago, people would be like, yeah, the expectations would go down. You're moving to the Big Ten. This is a whole different ballgame.
But now maybe they're lateral
but
or
now,
better.
Yeah, because they're recruiting so well.
Yeah.
They got a lot of momentum. Anyway, we'll cover that some other time. Let's move on to the club. No, it's not 6. It's only 4:30. In the news is next. This little guy here in Portland thinks that was stupid.
Yeah.
It's my hot take of the day. What was I talking about?
Refereeing
Pacers.
the first minute of the game like the last minute of the game.
Pacers. Boy Scouts changed their name. Jill Biden is coming to Portland, and more next on In the News from your noted newsman. Here's Buck with SportsCenter.
Now,
That's what they say. It is May 7, 2024. It is time now for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Thank you. Hello. Nice to see you all. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We really do. Please be seated. Today is National Concert Day. I'm going to ask you a very difficult question, Ryan Buckley. I was looking through the Portland summer concerts today, since it's National Concert Day. I would like you to power rank the top concerts.
Okay.
We have, well, Pearl Jam is here this, I think, Friday.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not sure that's summer, but we're going to put them in there.
Okay.
Foo Fighters, Green Day, Blink-182, Olivia Rodrigo. That's all. Unless Kid Cutie. Is Kid Cutie a big deal?
Kid Cudi.
Cudi?
Kid Cudi. He's a big, I
I
mean.
always thought it was Kid Cutie.
No, it's Kid Cudi. His name is Scott Muscudi, and so he goes by Kid Cudi.
All right.
So let's see. Hold on. Say that again. So we have Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters, Blink-182, Green Day, and Olivia Rodrigo.
Kid Cudi is coming. Is there anything else I'm missing out there, people? I don't think so. I looked through the list today.
I've only seen one of these bands, and that was Green Day. I saw them when I was in college.
Cool. Good time to see them.
Yeah, it was the American Idiot Tour.
Yeah, back when they were like, on drugs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
not that they're not now.
No, but like Dookie though was a little bit more their really their prime. Anyhow, I would put Foo Fighters at the top. I've never seen them. I've heard great things. I know that Sook loves them as one of the best live acts that he likes going to see. So I think I'd put them at the top.
Okay.
I'd be tempted to put Pearl Jam next. I think. I think that maybe they're just the most iconic rock band left on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Blink-182's music growing up, but I'm just not sure how well their genre and they as punk rockers hold up. So I'd be a little bit on that. Olivia Rodrigo, is that who it is? Olivia Rodrigo?
Yeah.
Does nothing for me. I don't even know who she is.
Okay.
I'm sure she's nice, but I could not tell you a single song.
Mm-hmm.
And Kid Cudi, I know like one or two songs. So he would be like second to last with Olivia Rodrigo last. So I'll
Blink.
go.
You forgot Blink.
Oh, no. Oh, so yeah, no, I said that I would take Blink.
Oh, you would? Okay.
So I'll say Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam. Green Day was a good show. I'll see Blink because I've seen Green Day before. Then Green Day, then Kid Cudi, then Olivia Rodrigo.
Okay. I'm going to go Pearl Jam 1. I hate to say this. Sook would kill me. I'm going to go Blink 2.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a fun little thing they're doing. They're all back together, touring. Foo 3. They don't do a whole lot for me, but you're right. Dave Grohl's great. Their shows. And that one's at the Providence Park. I'm going to go Rodrigo over Green Day. I'm going Green
I don't know
Day
a
last.
Rodrigo song.
Yeah, she's...
Maybe I'll find one when we come back.
Yeah, she's good. She's hot, young.
But I don't go to concerts to see someone walking around on the stage who's hot.
Well, she got good pipes, good songs, I guess. I don't know, man. I just have no interest really.
Driver's License, Deja Vu, Good for You, Traitor, and Bad Idea, right?
Yeah.
Some of her hits, I guess.
Anyway, it's National Concert Day. And it is National Cosmopolitan Day, like the drink, the Cosmo, which I don't ever drink.
That's just essentially cranberry vodka, or is it sweeter than that?
No, it's vodka with cranberry juice.
Well, right. No, that's what I meant. Cranberry juice and vodka. But is a Cosmo any different than just ordering a vodka cranberry?
I think maybe less juice.
Okay.
More like a martini style, dirty martini or something. The Boy Scouts changing their name. This is a big deal. This is the first. Were you a Boy Scout?
I was a Cub Scout, so I did it, which basically means you do it in elementary school before, it's like a junior Boy Scout thing. So I did that, and then but I didn't go to the Boy Scouts.
Ooh, somebody said Ween is coming. Ween at Pioneer Square. I'm in. I'm gonna put them second behind Pearl Jam.
The Cosmo also typically includes lime juice and/or triple sec. So add a little bit of citrus and a little bit of sweet.
Been out of the game a while. Where were we?
Oh yeah, you're a bartender. Come on.
I know. And look, I was fun behind the bar, but nowadays these
You should have been able to make a Cosmo though, right?
Well, of course, but at the time. But these mixologists now, like I've said this before, but it's wild to me. Like, and I love craft cocktails. Everybody's got their own craft cocktail list, and I love trying them. But that makes, it's labor intensive for these bartenders. When I bartended, it was a couple of drinks, pour some beers.
Yeah,
and,
I don't
and
need an
laugh and
$18 production. I just need.
Well, it was more like interactive. Like it's like let's laugh and have a good time, and I want to keep you at my bar, and I want to have a cigarette with you, right?
Sure.
Now their heads are down and they're making cocktails, man. That's because it's
work,
and they have 8 million ingredients in front of it. It's just a different
well, not that it
ballgame.
wasn't before. Yeah.
Well, anyway, the new name of the Boy Scouts will be first time in 114 years they've changed their name. It will be Scouting America.
What?
Yeah.
Scouting America. Like
that's right. So they took boy
that's
out.
not you're not even calling people individual, like Scouting America.
Well, that's right. It's more inclusive.
How? It's not even people.
Well,
Scouting America sounds like a baseball service.
It's all people. It's
yeah,
all people.
but it's like okay, it's not. But it's not Scouts of America.
I don't
It's
know.
Scouting
Look,
America.
is this not the beginning of the end of the Boy Scout? I mean, the Boy Scouts have been treading water for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Now, I was reading about this today. Did not know this, but they did not allow gay adult leaders until 2015.
I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay.
They did not allow gay youths until 2013.
Did you say youths?
Yeah, 2 youths.
But now they are allowing, and for several years they have allowed girls in the Boy Scouts.
Yes, I did know that was a thing.
So they've taken boy out of there, and they're going to call it Scouting America. And
I don't know why you wouldn't just call it Scouts of America.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Like, why Scouting America? That part was where
I don't
falls
know. I wasn't
apart
in
for
the
me.
meeting.
I'm not trying to shoot the messenger. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. But they will allow anyone, boy, girl, or otherwise, inclusive.
Full-on cowboy boy.
In the Scouting America. You're right. It is kind of an awkward name. We have yet another investigation into Boeing. The Federal Aviation Administration said Monday it is opening a new inquiry into Boeing, this time related to the company's inspections of the 787 Dreamliner and whether employees falsified records. Man, when it rains, it pours, right? It's like when they start looking up your skirt, man, they do not. Well, that's probably a bad analogy. But
stop looking up your skirt?
Yeah, they don't stop. When they start sniffing around your business, the layers of the onion get peeled back and it gets hairy.
Well, now that
now
that everyone is looking for something, there's just gonna be more found.
Yeah,
it feels
that's right.
like. Because people want to find things. Whereas
they're
before,
saying-
as long as everyone...
Well, look, it's kind of a big deal. Airplanes, we need to be safe up there.
It's a very big deal, but I think you did this story... This was before I was gone, but there was something... It was essentially that we have the same number or fewer malfunctions or airline issues as before. We're just covering
Yes,
it more.
That's correct.
Like so, that's
correct.
kind of what's resonating with me still is that story that you brought up previously.
Yep, no, that is correct. If you want to sleep a little easier, the headlines are certainly covering more mishaps with airlines, but then somebody did the numbers. We did this only a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they ran.
It's
the
not
numbers.
actually worse right now.
No, it's about the same in terms of incidents that require. I forget the criteria, but I think it's like it requires a landing or I don't know, or resulted in injury or something like that. The numbers are no different than they were 5 years ago. It's just. Again, we're sniffing around Boeing. Now, this says that the U.S. plane maker informed the agency in April that it may not have completed the required inspections related to the bonding and grounding where wings join the fuselage on the 787. They are re-inspecting those planes now. The FAA is requesting that Boeing also create a plan to address the issue with its in-service fleet. Yeah, I would...
Now I'm no
you would
scientist, but I would think where the wing fuses to the cabin, that's important probably.
Where the wings join the fuselage.
Which is the cabin, but the tube, yeah.
Okay. Is that what that means?
Yeah, the fuselage is the entire tube
tube.
of the plane.
I can't say I knew that.
Thank the CD-ROM games of my youth for building little toy planes and fuselages.
A spokesperson for Boeing said no airplanes would need to be taken out of service for inspection. Now, how do they know that?
That's a good question.
He said that the engineering team assessed that the problem did not create an immediate safety of flight issue, which is probably why they falsified records. Because we've had some Boeing bros text in that are like, some of this stuff, it's not gonna. You're gonna be. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Also, people texting in, and I thought I'd seen this as well. We can investigate during the break, but I believe another Boeing whistleblower offed themselves.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Oh, okay, so I was not here for that.
This is, you were gone. This is too, and dude, that is not a conspiracy theory. They are killing people. I'm sorry, that I full on. Okay, first of all,
who's they? People at Boeing, or is Boeing hiring people to kill people?
It's complicated. It's
I always wonder how these things get done, because
Yeah.
I don't doubt that you're right, but boy, if you were to get caught red-handed, like,
well, it could be the feds, and they could get caught red-handed, and they would just,
make it go away.
They can do whatever they want. It could be the feds because they're in bed with I don't know. It could be some Boeing executives. I don't know. All I know is the first guy killed himself, and they called it a suicide. The second guy, they said it was a fast-growing infection. Get out of here with that. And by the way, they used that because they can't say, another guy killed himself. They had to make up another excuse, right? You can't have two. So it's all fishy, man. And I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but they're offing people. How much you want to bet another one happens? Because they got some lawsuits and stuff.
I think you're right.
Another one's going to happen, man.
Although the more that happen, the more other people are going to dig into it. So they got to pick and choose their spots, right?
They do, but
if you just had 20 people who had issues all of a sudden, then
hey,
it becomes a bigger deal. So
I think they sit in these rooms with cigars and scotch and weigh these. They weigh the risk versus reward.
Yeah, they're like great dens with leatherback chairs and fireplaces and things.
Can picture it now.
Yeah.
Just sitting in there like, well, do we really need to do this? Yes, sir, we do. All right, make it happen. Honey, go ahead and turn that lamp off. Nick Saban involved.
Have you watched a study like that?
Have you watched Octopus Murders yet? Go watch that. You know
I
what I'm talking
started
about.
it. I did not continue with it. On your recommendation, I have been trying to continue with The Gentleman, which has been good.
Gentleman's great. All right, coming up next, she's coming to Portland. It's 4:46 on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Team defense. We had to switch the game plan up a little bit. But big shout out to Kat and Nas. They did a great job of not making us have to double tonight. They was playing straight up, and they played great defense without fouling. So they definitely helped us a lot.
You heard that? Yeah, you heard that.
That's Anthony Edwards. Boy, the Timberwolves in their length Jill Biden will be coming to Portland. She will be here on Thursday, I read.
Now, does Let's Go Brandon apply to both Jill and Joe? How does that work?
I would imagine she will get a little bit of that, but maybe not here. That's why she's coming here. You know,
Like, is it interchangeable for Jill and Joe, though?
I'm guessing
phrase?
so.
Probably, right?
Yeah. And they're married. Been together a long time. Same rule applies. She will be here Thursday, but she'll be gone by the evening. I always love it when these people come and then they say, well, you won't see her because she's going to private dinner with rich people. That's pretty much all it is. Okay, so why is it even a headline that she's coming here? She's not speaking. She's just going to sit at a big fancy dinner and try to raise money. They call it a political finance event, and they won't even say where it is. But she's going to be there with her hand out, looking for your capital. You're a Biden donor. I've heard that about you, Buckley.
Grease the skids a little bit.
That's right. Get what you want. What was I going to tell you? Oh, by the way, she looks great. She's 72 years old, so she's considerably younger than he is. And we all know how he's doing. I don't see much of her. I don't really follow politics, but she looks good. And they met, they've been together since 1975. Did you know that? They went on a blind date. And she called her mom after the blind date with Sleepy Joe, and she said she finally met a gentleman.
Maybe he wasn't that sleepy back then.
I don't think he was. You look at young pictures. I tell you what, young Jill Biden was beautiful.
He was a fox.
And I bet her hair smelled great, too.
Yeah.
You think that's the first thing Joe did when he met her?
Smelled her hair? Maybe.
And they fell in love. Well, the first lady will be here.
Kind of.
What is today? Tuesday? Yeah, she'll be here the
Barely.
day after tomorrow. Barely. She swoops in, she swoops out. Raising money for her hubby. All right, what else? Are Oregon and Washington among the most stressed or least stressed states? What do you think? Gotta be least.
Oh no, they were hurting you so bad. Oh no.
I think it's going to be most. I think people up here
What?
probably identify.
Well, we're all high. We're all laid back, man.
I understand that, but I also think that there are entire other sections of the country where you don't talk about being depressed or anxious or stressed or whatever. You just kind of roll with it, even though those things are happening. So I bet we're more acutely aware of it here, and therefore I bet we are higher on the list of people who have stresses, anxieties, etc.
Yeah, somebody said, you asked if Let's Go Brandon would apply to Jill. Somebody on the text line says it would be Let's Go Brandy.
Ah, that's pretty good. Okay.
You get that?
Yeah.
You get it? Where were we? What were you talking about? Oh,
The stress levels.
Yeah. So we have a list here of hours worked. It ranks hours worked, earnings, commute, income, and what would that column be?
A composite of all the others?
It says WFH. What would that be?
Work from home abilities?
Yeah, I think you're right. Work from home. You're right.
Thanks.
Thank God you're here. Jesus. Anyway.
I like that you're here.
Oregon and Washington are among the least stressed states.
So good.
We're way down there in it appears we are, let's see, Oregon 37, Washington 38. Most stressed state, Tennessee.
Really?
Believe it or not.
That surprises me.
Yep.
Huh.
Alabama 2, Oklahoma 3, Louisiana 4, and Nevada 5.
I'd have to think more about the criteria you laid out, but
I know.
that surprises me a little bit.
Most stressed, North Dakota. What?
What?
Utah,
About
Iowa,
what?
Nebraska.
Sorry.
I don't know. I think they're stressed about finding something to do.
The fact that the farming industry is dying?
That's a stupid list, isn't it?
I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's a stupid list or not. It seems... I'm sure that based on their studies and their criteria, it makes perfect sense, but to me, it doesn't.
We need more info. And there's not a lot of info on this story here. So I'm punting on that. I'm gonna do my own research.
Very Let's Go Brandon of you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to Joe Rogan and see what he says. Present that. Get creative. Steal that guy's money. That's right. And by the way, people texting in, you got them all over the board. Oh, there's no way Boeing would kill people. Yes, there is.
As someone points out, with how many billions of dollars they
Yes.
stand to lose, if they could do it clean and not get caught, there's plenty of reason.
Yeah, somebody said if these blowers tell their story, it would cost Boeing billions.
Yes.
No doubt they are having those guys killed. This is big, big business. And it's not just Boeing, it's the tentacles. That's why they call it the octopus murders. It's all these tentacles. And it gets into government stuff. And you can't tell me that the government doesn't off people. Maybe they don't do it like Putin, but they do it. Now, somebody else said, Boeing employs hundreds of thousands of people. It is not a stretch to think that a couple of people would die within several weeks of each other through unexplainable situations. Wait a minute, dude. These both happen to be huge whistleblower guys who were testifying against Boeing.
So is it possible that this was happenstance? Yeah. Is it likely? Probably not.
Get out of here with that. Like, how gullible are you? And I'm gullible. That's insane to me that you would think that. What else? I think that's all I got for you. I'm worn out. Your noted newsman has delivered as much news as he can.
Well, that's all right. It's time for us to break anyways.
For the day.
You're right on the
you
clock,
something
pal.
else.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, well, let's move on. The Hot 5 at 5 is coming up next. Got some free agent NFL news, baseball, and college football is inching closer to a new athlete compensation model. That'll be next on The Fan.
Hey, it's Sook. And guys, for those of you with a full head of hair, congratulations. Studies show that one of the most attractive
Having a nice little Tuesday. It is Sports Bro number 1, Isachi. What's going on? Isachi. Hope everybody's having a good little day. Big Sook will be back tomorrow. The Big Zucchini back in the saddle. Find out how St. Lucia was. He'll probably
locked, cocked, ready to rock.
Yeah, he'll be all locked, cocked, and ready to rock. Probably not. We'll find out how tan he is. You know,
does he get tan? I mean, he's a Nord.
Yeah, he will. He'll be nice and tan, I bet you, on his bald dome. So that'll be good. He'll be back. Coming up tonight, club. We have an airplane seat dupe. This one went viral on TikTok. Of course, I'm not on TikTok. The
kids send it to you?
No, the kids don't send it to me. You know where I get my TikTok news? The New York Post.
The New York Post, I would imagine, provides this show more fodder than anyone realizes. There's a lot of club topics that come out of the Post.
You are so right. That smut rag. It's right up our alley.
That's where we, right before my trip, that's where we met the Girth Master, remember?
That's right. Yes. What else? There is a question on internet dividing women nationwide. Worldwide, really. And we will talk about it. And the latest in trendy jeans. That tonight from 6 to 7. Now, this hour, I'm going to make you guess the top 5 most valuable college athletes. And then we'll have our Tuesday Sports Snorts. There was an athlete who was mentioned today in the Trump Stormy Daniels trial. So we'll talk about
an athlete was?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know who it is? And why?
I don't.
Well,
No.
I'm going to tell you.
I'm excited to find out.
Come on, Rob!
Yeah. So
China!
That we will have this hour as well. But right now, let's get to the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victoricos.com. Number 5.
Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers was a triple shy of the cycle in the second inning this
seems hard to
afternoon.
do.
That's crazy. The Rangers, he did not get the cycle, by the way, but the Rangers hammer the A's with
Marcus Semien's former team.
with a 10-run second inning. The final score was 15-8, so Texas is still on top in the AL West. Mariners, though, they do have a 2-0 lead in Minnesota right now in the bottom of the second. Braves have taken a 2-0 lead on the Red Sox in the third. The Yankees are all over Justin Verlander and the Astros. It is 4-1 in the bottom of the third in New York. And my O's are losing to the Nationals 1-0 in the sixth. That's all I got for you. Oh, the Tigers 8, Guardians 7, sixth inning. How about that? Baseball scores. You're welcome.
Number 4.
The Winterhawks are headed to the WHL Championship for the first time since 2014. A thrilling double overtime win last night at Prince George. Would have been cool if we could see it, but it wasn't on. They will meet the winner of tonight's Game 7 between the Moose Jaw Warriors and the Saskatoon Blades.
Yeah. Now, I do have a nugget about this that is somewhat relevant. If you are a Portland Winterhawks fan and you want more chances to go to games, you want Moose Jaw to win. If Moose Jaw wins, that makes Portland the home team for the series.
Yeah.
They would host games 1, 2, 6, and 7. If it is Saskatoon that wins, Portland's the road team. They would host games 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so we're rooting for
Moose Jaw.
the Moose Jaw Warriors.
Yeah.
Moose Jaw sounds like an infliction. On the ice tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Hurricanes lead the Rangers 2-1 at the end of the first period. Avalanche, that's East second round. Rangers leading that series 1-0. Avalanche Stars later. And I've got another hockey note for you bros, you hockey bros out there. What do they call hockey bros? Like puckheads?
Puckheads, yeah.
Like seam heads, puckheads?
See, I hadn't really heard seam heads before, but I have heard puckheads.
Yeah, seam heads baseball. The San Jose Sharks win the NHL draft lottery. They will
My
select,
San Jose Sharks.
Yes, your San Jose Sharks. They will select number 1 overall, Chicago number 2, Anaheim number 3. Nuggets guard Jamal Murray will not be suspended for throwing a towel and then a heating pad onto the court last night.
What was that all about?
They have fined. Well, he's being a bitch.
I know he's being a bitch, but lots of NBA players are bitches and they don't throw stuff on the floor like that.
No, that's right. I think he should have been suspended. A lot of
think
people
so,
do,
too.
but they did not suspend him. How dare they? They wouldn't suspend him.
Well, as Danny and Dusty pointed out, if a fan throws something on the court, suspended maybe for life, at least for the year. If a player throws something at a fan in the stands, they're getting suspended. So how come a player throwing something on the court isn't getting suspended?
I know. I think that they think because they're already down 2-0,
It won't matter?
it would kill the series. No, I think it's the opposite. They got to have Jamal Murray so they don't suspend him. He has been fined $100,000, which is a lot, but still. He probably should have been suspended.
Number 2.
NBA Defensive Player of the Year is Rudy Gobert of the T-Wolves. 4th time he's won that. MVP tomorrow, the finalists are Jokic, Gilgeous-Alexander, and Doncic. Free agent wide receiver Tyler Boyd has signed with the Tennessee Titans. He reunites with Tennessee head coach Brian Callahan from their days in Cincinnati. 1 year, $4.5 million. Also, we have safety C.J. Morse signing back with the Lions. You remember him? He was the guy cut by Detroit after he was suspended for gambling. But they got him off the books for a year. He's now back. And
I was confusing him with the guy who was on the run. Remember that guy? Wasn't he a Lion as well?
Yeah, they cut his ass.
Okay, I thought so.
Once a top recruit, quarterback Sam Heward is transferring again. He started at UW, transferred to Cal Poly. Now he's headed to Utah. He'll be with the Utes and Kyle Whittingham. And yes, Cam Rising is back for the Utes. There are 4 other quarterbacks on the Utah roster as well.
Yeah, somehow Heward, it'll be his 3rd school with 3 years of eligibility remaining.
Yeah, well, you got the COVID thing and all that. But why he's going there, I have no idea. Best of luck, though. He threw for over 2,200 yards at Cal Poly this past year.
Go Mustangs. John Madden's alma mater.
They were terrible.
Number 1.
And number 1, we have NBA playoffs tonight. We've got the Cavs visiting the Celtics. It is at half. Game 1, East semis. Boston leading 59-49.
About what we thought.
Yeah, that's pretty predictable. It's right on the number. Jaylen Brown has 20. Jason Tatum 11. Later, we'll get Game 1 of Oklahoma City and Dallas. Should be a good series.
Yeah, that one spread much closer. I think it's 4.
One other thing I wanted to tell you about, there is a new athlete compensation model in college sports that is coming. It could cost universities, they say now, upwards of $300 million over 10 years. This according to Yahoo Sports. They say negotiations to settle all their NIL lawsuits have been ongoing for months, and now it appears the new model is forming to perhaps go into effect in time for fall 2025. And there's a lot of details to that, which we'll spare you at this time, but just know that they're getting closer and closer to that. Although there is one major pitfall, and that is that, the universities, even though they're settling these lawsuits, they will not be able to just get away with setting the level of compensation. That will have to be collectively bargained by a union or the players or attorneys or whatever. They're going to challenge how much the universities are setting aside for athletes. But right now, what the universities want to do is set aside roughly $300 million over 10 years to pay for everything, and that includes back pay to past athletes as well, and salaries for future athletes. So they're honing in on the negotiating, on the details of the negotiation and finalizing it, because there is a deadline set by attorneys. But don't think for 1 second that the total amount of compensation isn't going to be collectively bargained, because if it isn't, then it's subject to antitrust lawsuits just like they are now. So that's the latest. Your Hot 5 at 5 is brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. Can you guess the top 5 most valuable college athletes? That's next on The Fan.
The Fan Merch Lock.
I was doing some homework on NIL numbers because the new player that Oregon, the women's basketball team got, I think her name is Deja Kelly.
That's correct.
From North Carolina. I was reading in a story that she was top 12 in on the NIL 100. I'm like, wait a minute. They have these rankings now? And so I clicked on it, and it's by on3.com. And they have, I was just perusing it again today. They have all kinds of lists here. They have the NIL 100, which it's basically the top 100 college athletes and their values. And they have the women's NIL 100. They have the college football NIL rankings. They have the college basketball NIL rankings. And they have high school football and basketball NIL rankings. So it's, and it's not just a number out of thin air. It looks to me like they've got this formula. Well, first of all, it says that they try to track down deal data from all sorts of different sources.
I think I've talked to Nemec a little bit about this, and he thinks that a lot of the numbers come from what the kids say they're being offered or what they're getting.
Mhm.
A lot of these collectives, while they'll admit to giving kids money, they're not going to be specific about certain figures. So it's tough to know for sure, but it's as good an idea as we can get right now.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, this is the only group trying to put a value on all this, so we're going to go with it. But it's like they said that they collect and verify athlete deal data from numerous sources, including athletes, coaches, collectives, agents, and player reps. And that's the foundation of their roster value. But then they also include an algorithm that has performance, how they play, influence, which is determined by their social media authority, and then exposure, which is determined by several factors, including whether they're in high school or college, and where they go to school and how many eyeballs are on them. So they put all this into a fun little math equation, and it spits out a valuation. So do you care to guess, young Buckley, who the top 5 most valuable college athletes are right meow?
I would like to guess.
Not that hard.
So
I don't think.
One, I'll say, is Livy Dunn.
She's number 2.
Or I meant one of the 5 is Livy Dunn. Yep.
She's 2. They valued her at $3.9 million. She's actually raking in $13 million.
Okay.
As we mentioned yesterday, and she's the gymnast at LSU, and she's super hot, and she's got a huge following on social media, and she's leaning into it. And she was in the SI swimsuit issue, and she does ads, and she's everywhere. And she's dating Paul Skeens. And by the way, can I just say live on the radio, call up Paul Skeens. For God's sakes, what are the Pirates doing?
I don't know.
He's awesome.
Doesn't this seem to happen with every awesome prospect? Is it about like an extra year of control on their contract and things like that? Or is it?
Well, sometimes it is. In this case, it isn't. They're just trying to build up his innings, and he got to 85, I think.
Are they trying to make sure like he doesn't flame out too soon or something? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, yeah, these guys' arms fall off.
I mean, I guess to be fair, if the Pirates are they competitive this year? I don't even know.
They're fine, but they have a couple of young.
Could they go and be a playoff team if he gives them a boost?
I mean, they project him as a top of the rotation guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So and they
put him out there and let him help you win some ball games.
And they already have the Jones guy who's pitching great. He's another rookie. So they have. I'm looking at their record here. They're 17 and 19. They're hanging around. Okay. So they're in the NL Central. They're 4 games back. Okay. So
so Livy Dunn is one of the 5. She's 2.
Well, hold on. So you were asking, is it a contract thing? Sometimes it is. I think with Skeens, they're just trying to get his pitch count up, and he hit 85 in one start, but this last start he didn't hit that, and so now they're going to throw him out there again in AAA. His ERA is like under 1.
Right. So he's awesome, but they're just worried about him not being able to like go deep enough in ball games.
I guess they want to just build him up so his arm doesn't fall off. You know his arm's going to fall off. He throws 105 miles an hour.
That's the thing. All these guys are
yeah,
maybe just let him pitch 5 innings then and have your bullpen do the rest. I don't know.
Hundo P, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're dating,
mm-hmm.
and he's
he throws really fast. And she's really hot.
He pitched at LSU. Yeah. That's a good summation there. Okay, so she's number 2. Okay, who else you got?
So. I mean, I have to ask, does it include people like Caitlin Clark or Caleb Williams, or are they out of the picture because they're no longer in college?
No longer in college.
Okay. So I'm going to say Shadur Sanders is on that list. Is that right?
Shadur Sanders. That is number 1.
Oh, okay.
You nailed it.
I mean, he's already doing commercials with his dad and national ones at that. So that
there was a headline yesterday that said that some scouts think he'll be the number 1 pick in the draft next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy.
So valuation $4.6 million, and they're saying from what they have pieced together, he is making $2.5 million. But of course, we don't know exactly. Okay, so you got the top 2.
Now,
3, 4, 5.
Now is where I think it gets tougher. I'm trying to think of who the biggest stars are coming back in either football or basketball. And I don't feel like there are that many obvious names that jump off.
There aren't. It falls off pretty fast.
Yeah.
But there are. This is why I said top 5. Number 5 is only making like $300K.
Oh, okay. So nowhere near the league of Shedeur and Livy Dunn.
Not yet. Probably will be though. Big names. Just think big names. Very easy.
Okay.
Famous daddies. How about that?
Oh, Arch Manning?
Oh God! Arch Manning is number 5.
Okay.
Already making $300K. Now they keep saying that he's like turning down NIL. He doesn't want to be NIL.
Bronny James has to be on there, right?
Yeah, Bronny's number 3.
Okay.
Yep. So you're missing one guy. This one's a little tougher. Probably the toughest of the 5. Big name.
Ooh.
Gets buoyed by. He gets buoyed by just being in the news.
Ooh.
I mean, and it's not
buoyed.
really even him that's in the news. Does that help you?
No. Oh boy.
It's Travis Hunter.
Of
Colorado.
I almost guessed him after guessing Shedeur, but I'm like, I just didn't think he had that cachet. So, okay.
So right there are the top 5 most valuable college athletes. Shedeur Sanders, number 1. Livy Dunn, 2. Although Livy Dunn's got to be number 1. She's making way more. Bronny, by the way, is making $13 million himself. So maybe Shedeur is number 3. And then you have Travis Hunter and Arch Manning. Now after that, you got guys like Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel is on the list.
I was wondering where the first duck to come in on that list would be.
Number 10. He is valued at 1.4. They say he's only making 160. That is, I'm sure, inaccurate. And number 11 is a high school kid, that Cooper Flagg, the basketball.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
signee for Duke.
Going to Duke.
Yeah, he's 11th on the list. And Evan Stewart, who is the 5-star wide receiver from Texas A&M, who is now a Duck.
Right.
He is 13th.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, he's making $2.4 million NIL.
Good for him.
I wonder if that's that's got to be Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Not the Aggies. At any rate,
it has to be, I would think.
Yeah, those are your most valuable.
And that's how you win the transfer portal.
Exactly. Top high school football NIL. These kids make the top one makes about $200,000 already.
A high school kid.
Yeah.
That is. See, I think the college kids who are playing for their colleges and earning revenue for the universities through ticket sales and stuff, but the high school kid, what's he doing? Get out of here.
Well, I think they get money because they're committed or signed. So the kid who's making the most is number 5 on this list. His name is Ryan Williams.
Okay.
And he is a signee at Alabama. He is signed on the dotted line.
Okay. So it's only because he's going there to play for them.
Well, I assume you got to sign first and then they'll pay you. But he is signed and he is making $280K. The number 1 kid is a commit to USC that already is making $200,000. Julian Lewis,
okay,
the quarterback, commit to USC. So that's high school football, and then high school basketball is Cooper Flagg, and there's some other guys that you'll not recognize. Although there is a kid by the name of Bryce James.
That's LeBron's other kid.
Oh, is that LeBron's brother?
Bryce James is Bronny's younger brother,
and he is not signed or committed to anywhere. He's already making $3.2 million in NIL.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be better than Bronny. I think.
Really? Well, it's not a high bar.
No.
Yet. But they're saying Ohio State possibly for him. So I'm sure Ohio State's greasing his skids. Yeah, that stands to reason.
When's the next woman to show up on the list? Is there a college hooper like Paige Beckers or someone like that?
On the NIL 100?
Mm-hmm.
I'm scrolling,
because you get Livy Dunn, and then I'm wondering how long to find another female.
Scrolling. Hey, there's Cam Ward, Garrett Nussmeier.
Garrett Nussmeier.
There's Paige. Paige Buckets is 22nd.
Okay.
She's making $2.8 million.
Okay.
Right between Riley Leonard and Will Howard, the quarterbacks. After
Riley Leonard.
Yeah, Riley Leonard's the kid from
Yeah, he was at Duke,
Duke.
and now he's where? Notre Dame?
Notre Dame. Yeah, the other, still scrolling on the women. There's Haley Cavender. She's at TCU now, or committed to TCU. She's making $5.4 million.
Wait, didn't she now then flip back to Miami?
No, you're thinking of the Twins.
They're the Cavenders.
No, one of them.
Haley Van Lith is the.
Oh, you're right.
Is the
She's
LSU
at,
gal? The
that's
Cavenders. It was Paige and Haley Cavender, right?
Well, Van Lith went to TCU.
Right, and I think one of the Cavenders was going too.
That's Haley. She's a TCU commit, makes $5.4 million.
But then I think like her sister unretired or something, and then she went back
she
to
did?
Miami. Maybe
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, there's some hot NIL numbers for you. It's kind of interesting now. You know, I mean, like that's like the new thing.
It is,
right? Like we were talking.
It's a weird
yesterday.
time.
It is a weird time
because like Livy Dunn is. I mean, yes, I guess we learned she's an All-American gymnast, but like the Cavenders aren't like world beaters in the as far as like basketball players, but they're earning a ton of money. Bronny James, obviously. I mean, Shador at least did some things on the football field this year. Bronny James didn't really contribute much as a basketball player. He just has a dad named LeBron.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and I know no one cares about this, at least maybe, well, I know I don't, and a lot of people in our audience, but social media following matters. You know, and that kind of stuff is
Well, it
all,
matters to their schools because like it gets eyeballs on your
That's what I
entire
mean.
athletic department.
That's what I'm saying. Like some of these kids, you know, would you take a lesser player if he's really popular and has a famous dad and has over 1 million followers? You know, like that stuff matters now. It's weird, very weird, but it's actually more interesting to me than recruiting. This kind of stuff, NIL rankings.
Well, like we talked yesterday,
transfer rankings.
Recruiting's starting to feel like the draft, whereas NIL and transfer portal is feeling like free agency.
Yeah, exactly. All right, up next, let's get to our. I got a lot of notes here. Tuesday Sports Snorts, but first, Buck with Sports Center.
Now,
telling me that was Prince George's call. Was that not the Winterhawks call?
I don't know.
You don't know anything.
Well, I took it from our friends in the morning show this morning, and so it wasn't necessarily credited on the little cut that I had.
Look,
so I don't know where it came from.
I
just know it was a call from last night's game.
The people out there know more about this than we do. Somebody said the person we heard was the Prince George commentators. They were on the WHL app. If you listen to the game, you can download the Winterhawks app, and the home announcers will be there.
Boy, that is deep knowledge.
That is. So we're happy for our Winterhawks going to the WHL finals, championship finals, whatever. This begins Tuesday's Sports Snorts. I was mentioning that there was an athlete who came up in the Donald Trump Stormy Daniels trial today.
Yeah, this piqued my interest.
Yeah, they had Stormy on the stand, and apparently she was pretty hard to corral. She was a wild one up there. And the highlight of that is that she said that she was so tired of his arrogance when she and he were doing it that she said he needed to be spanked with the magazine that had him on the cover. So she spanked him.
Okay.
With the magazine that had him on the cover.
Hot.
So hot. The athlete that was mentioned, though, is Ben Roethlisberger. Catching strays.
Really?
Yes. And I don't even know if they're strays. Here's what... So I guess Stormy Daniels met Trump at that golf tournament in Tahoe. That celebrity golf tournament?
Sure. The, what is that? The American Century Championship, I think it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Curry's always there.
Yeah, I think Curry won it last year for the first time.
All those guys. Well, Daniels told the story of an encounter with Trump in her book in which she met him at the Lake Tahoe tournament. This was way back in 2006. And the day after her night with Trump, she met Ben Roethlisberger, and she said he was chatting with Trump, and at the end of the night, Trump asked Roethlisberger to walk her up to her hotel room. Which I would say, wow, that's actually the most polite thing I've ever heard Donald Trump say, except that I feel like there was a whole other motive there.
Yeah, like
here, you want this? I was with her last night. Why don't you walk her up to the, that type of thing?
Yeah.
So she says he asked her for a goodnight kiss. This is Roethlisberger, not Trump.
Asked Stormy for a goodnight
Yes,
kiss.
so Roethlisberger walks Stormy Daniels up to the hotel room. He asks for a goodnight kiss. She refuses. She says he pushed her lightly on her door as they stood outside her hotel room, and she said, "I was terrified. She said, I was terrified. I am rarely terrified." And then Roethlisberger said, "Come on," and that was the end of it. So that story was in the trial today. That's why Ben Roethlisberger was mentioned.
It's kind of probably a bummer for him.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think. You got to be careful with these guys. Like Kobe, I mean...
Well, and him specifically. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger did some very Kobe-level stuff.
Yes, and
So for him, it stands to reason that could have been, predatory. But then again, dudes who are drinking, trying to get it on with perceived hots, hey, come on, let's do this.
Well,
Not probably all that uncommon.
In this instance, she says that's all that happened and that was it. Okay. But you're right. With Roethlisberger's past, I don't know what to think of him. Like, it sounds like he was awful. He had multiple accusers. Bad stuff happened, and he kind of skated or paid him off or whatever. Kobe, same thing. But then you get guys like Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer's lost his career, basically.
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball. Well, that stuff has all shifted. And yes, there was some rough stuff going on there, but I believe that he won the countersuit. Am I right about that? Like,
I can't remember. I think the biggest thing for him was the public perception of there being photos of what he had done to that woman that he said she consented to, and she said she did not, and then we took to the legal system to decide.
But I think he ultimately won in the legal system.
Well, I mean,
pretty
because
sure.
he had besides Pete Rose had the greatest punishment or suspension levied against him in the history of baseball.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't all played out when they booted him and said you're never coming back.
If he won, would that have been lifted by now, or it hasn't been and it just doesn't matter?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm just saying, all these are hard for somebody to sit out here and judge. Although it sounds to me like Ben Roethlisberger's just a dirtbag creep, but it doesn't stick to him.
No,
everybody loves that guy. Anyway, speaking of the Dodgers, I saw that Walker Buehler is back.
Oh, yeah. Is he pitching tonight? I think he is.
He pitched last night.
Oh,
or maybe
there you go. No, I think you're right. Last night.
Well, it's crazy, but the Dodgers. I didn't realize this until I was thinking about Buehler coming back. I'm like, wait a minute, I forgot about Walker Buehler, and then you realize the stupid Dodgers lost their top 4 starting pitchers, and they are better than ever. Did you realize that?
Well,
Bauer's gone.
I knew that they were massively shorthanded as far as starting pitching, but their lineup is so insane it just doesn't feel like it matters.
Well, I know, but still, think about it. Buehler's gone. Clayton Kershaw's hurt. Buehler's back now, but he was gone for a long time. Bauer's gone. Kershaw hurt, and Julio Urias. You forget about him. He's the lefty who beat up his girlfriend or something.
Yeah,
and now he's out of the league.
I think publicly, which is weird.
Yeah, those 4 guys were their top 4 pitchers 3 years ago.
And then wasn't Dustin May in the mix too? And he was also a TJ guy.
Yes, he's hurt.
Yeah,
but then they just go sign Glasgow and the kid from Japan, and then they got Shohei coming in next year to pitch as well. It's crazy. We should all hate the Dodgers, is my point, because they're just loading up. It doesn't even matter. They lose their top 4 starting pitchers, and it doesn't even matter. There's a report that Kirk Cousins left Minnesota because they were open with him about drafting a quarterback. I thought that was funny. That's why he left Minnesota to go to Atlanta.
Where
and
they
then
drafted
Atlanta
a quarterback.
Drafts a quarterback. Crazy. Who would you rather try to stave off? Michael Penix in Atlanta or J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota?
J.J. McCarthy, and I don't think it's that close.
Seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Should have stayed in Minnesota, dude. Although,
when
Atlanta was going to give him more
when he went
money.
to Atlanta, he had no inclination that they were going to do that. It came out that Atlanta called his agent while they were on the clock drafting Penix, saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to do, just so you know." And the agent was like, "What?" And Kirk was rightfully ticked. He's like, "I thought that you were going to make a pick that helped us win now, not for the future."
Yeah,
that's why I came here for 4 years and $100 million.
He can't be happy.
No.
Did you see who is now sponsoring the Arizona Bowl?
Yes.
You
Snoop
like this?
D-O double jizzle.
You like that? Yes, Snoop.
You like that? You like that? You like that?
Snoop D-O double jizzle and Gin and Juice have been named the sponsor of the Arizona Bowl. They will call it the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice.
Like the institution of gin and juice, you would think that it would have to be like Tanqueray and Tropicana or something, right?
Well, I think that's his.
Is gin and juice his brand?
Yeah,
I know his song is Gin and Juice, but I
think it's his alcohol company.
Oh,
it's called Gin and
I didn't realize that. Okay, because in the song Gin and Juice, he talks about Tanqueray, but I didn't know he had his own. It's not surprising.
By the way,
all these rappers and musicians have their own tequilas and whiskeys and vodkas and such.
Gin is mid. Allow me to state that for the record.
Yeah, gin. I feel like gin's only good for a couple things, and gin and tonic's one of them, and you don't really want it for many others.
That's right. It's mid. Would you rather have gin? If you had to drink one alcohol for the rest of your life, would you rather it be gin or rum?
For
me, it's rum.
It's probably rum,
but I don't really like either.
That's the thing is that rum's sweeter though, and I don't know. That's tough.
What about scotch or gin?
Probably gin. I'm not a big scotch guy. Maybe I don't have the developed taste for scotch yet. Like I like bourbon a lot.
It's an acquired taste for sure.
I have an easier time putting down a gin cocktail than just like having a scotch on the rocks. So okay. I guess I would take gin in that case. Plus, you can actually make some decent summer drinks with gin too.
Like the gin fizz?
Does the gin fizz have egg in it or egg white? Which one of those? weird drinks has?
I should know that.
I don't know. There's a delightful gin drink that has. Do you ever have Hendrick's gin?
Yeah.
It's
Back in the day.
It's like mint and rose. You make like a cucumber gin and soda with that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they're saying Snoop is selling like ready to drink gin and juices.
Okay.
That's a big category now.
Do it.
RTDs, baby. Straightaway cocktails. Down on Southeast Hawthorne. Scuttlebutt. A couple of other things in our tickle trunk, and then we'll move on. Scuttlebutt out of Washington. Freshman quarterback DeMond Williams Jr. is pushing Will Rogers for the starting gig.
Nice.
How about that?
I love a good QB competition.
Yeah,
especially in the NIL era where everyone's job seems to be handed to them.
Right. It's like when you transfer in, you were a starter at Mississippi State. It's like, oh, that's the quarterback. Well, apparently they love this kid. They say he's a more athletic, more dynamic Jaden DeLaura or Noah Fafita.
This feels like there's almost a weird parallel here with the Seahawks when they brought in Matt Flynn and then Russell Wilson just beat him out. You bring in the old guard. You got the younger, more athletic young guy to knock him out.
And that's what these coaches say. Hey, we love competition. We don't shy away from competition. May the best man win.
Well, that's one thing that Lanning has told us, because I think you've asked him about specifically when you have these classes with these stellar recruits and transfers coming in, like what does that do to your current roster? And he's like, we tell guys day one, like you are in competition for your job every single day, and it's the iron sharpens iron thing. And if you can't handle that, this is not going to be the place for you.
Yeah, I don't know how you could ever promise a kid
you
anything
can't
other than money.
But so that's
and
the
cars.
Thing. So now
and women.
It's the money and not the playtime.
But PT, get out of here. And finally, Gary, I saw this and laughed. This is our final Tuesday sports note. The Grizzlies are retiring a third jersey. So their two jerseys that they've retired are former Blazers great Zach Randolph.
Mm-hmm. Marc Gasol, right?
Yep, Marc Gasol. And now they will be lifting to the rafters the jersey of the great Tony Allen.
Uh-huh. Mr. Grit and Grind himself, huh?
Seriously.
I believe it. It's weird.
Why? You believe that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they liked him.
He's such a... It's weird. It's a weird fan favorite type thing. I specifically remember the Warriors playing them in the Western Conference Finals, and the Warriors just deciding they weren't going to guard Tony Allen on offense because he was so bad. Could not hit a jumper, was not an offensive threat. It's crazy that someone like that, you're going to put their number up in the rafters, but I think he's a little bit too Memphis basketball, like what Jimmy Butler is to the Heat right now and the whole Heat culture thing. Like, the Tony Allen grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies vibe was very much like his thing, and a lot of what fans, like player fans, rallied around. It'd be like if like Draymond getting his number put up in the rafters, but poor man's maybe.
Well, but they won titles. I mean,
right? That's the thing. Tony Allen didn't, but
come on,
these franchises want to celebrate something.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe a stretch. I'm not disagreeing.
Little bit of a stretch,
but he's
there,
definitely a fan favorite there.
Jimbo, a little bit of a stretch. And by the way, I said that was the last Tuesday Sports Report. It is not.
Liar.
Just pointing out that the stories, and these were predictable, but Giselle and the ex-fiance of Aaron Hernandez both pissed about the jokes in the roast.
Oh no, they were hurting you so bad. Oh no.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Not at all.
One of the better, I mean, there were a handful that took shots at Giselle. One of them was about how Tom got in trouble for draining balls, and now it's his ex-wife doing it with other men, something like that.
Yeah, and they didn't really even take shots at Giselle. They were just making
fun of Tom
Brady
for getting divorced and losing
family.
Giselle. Yeah,
he lost his family. So I don't know. It's again, like you said, it's a roast, and it's amazing what you can get away with saying when it's under the umbrella of a roast.
Mm-hmm.
And it is definitely going to piss people off that don't get that. And two of them right there.
I'm surprised they're not the only ones. I'm sure they're not the only ones.
But look, I mean,
others.
Dude, Hernandez's ex-fiance, I mean, she doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. I mean, come on, man. You're still protecting that guy? He's a murderer.
Yeah, that's...
Come on.
So what is she? Does she want money or an apology?
No, I don't know. I didn't even read them. They
Tension?
just headlines. They're both pissed. And there, Right there. Tuesday, Sports Snorts.
We think.
On the Fan. All right. Sports in the Metaverse next.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Hello?
I have Oregon football news, kind of. Former Ducks offensive lineman Shane Lemieux signing a one-year deal with the New Orleans Saints.
Mario Lemieux?
Shane Lemieux, although the name Lemieux seems like it would do well down on the bayou.
Relation?
I don't believe he is related, but he's been injury-plagued the last 3 seasons. He missed 16 games in 2022 due to a toe, hoping to get his career back on track.
Be a fun city to go to, the Big Easy.
I would think so.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
If you're considering new construction and want it done right and fast, a team
From Eugene down there at Oregon. This is from the Lundquist College of Business. They are researchers there that did a paper titled Sports Fandom in the Metaverse. And this is from KVAL. It says, imagine attending a sporting event even without sitting through traffic or standing in long lines for concessions. There would be no risk of another fan spilling their drink on you, and you might even get to sit next to a virtual version of your favorite celebrity. Researchers at U of O's Lundquist College of Business think this is the future, and it isn't far away at all. In a paper titled Sports Fandom in the Metaverse, the school's executive director of sports product management, Ellen Schmidt-Devlin, and Dr. Rashawn Chohan came up with a few ways brands could use these new technologies. For example, a basketball team could create a VR arena and give you the chance to sit next to an avatar of Michael Jordan. Would you like that, Buck? Would you like that very much?
So I do have some thoughts on, not that specifically.
You like that? You like that?
No, because it wouldn't be Michael Jordan that I'm sitting next to. What I think is really cool and that I think has potential is the fact that you can go like sit courtside at an NBA game without being there. You can get that view, put on that headset and turn your head from side to side. Like that to me is rad. And the fact that it's not an exclusive thing that you have to pay, $5,000 to be sitting courtside. You need the headset and the subscription. Thousands of people could do it. I think that's wonderful. The fact that there's a fake image of Michael Jordan next to me does nothing for me.
You don't want to high five him?
I don't know, not really. I mean, it's like seeing a hologram in concert or something. Like I guess it's like a cool novelty, but to me the cooler thing is the access to being close to the game, to maybe being in the locker room afterwards, in the media room, like that sort of be everywhere behind the scenes or within the game. That seems awesome, and especially if there's enough people doing it, you can kind of create almost like a social network. You could go to the lobby or the concourse of one of these meta arenas and interact with other Blazer fans, so to speak, who are also sitting courtside.
Well, don't you think that's the future? I mean, this is where it's headed, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We're in a time of, I don't know, I just see a future where when we watch sports, a lot of us will do it together in a situation where we're virtually there. We are virtually there with our headset. We may be on our couches, but we've got our headsets on, and we're all.
And what you see makes you feel like you're at the game, despite the fact that you're inside the four walls of your home.
Correct. I think that's, these people are saying, hey, that's not that far off, and that's freaking cool. Now, I don't think it's going to be for everybody, but like this one says, this is the that Schmidt-Devlin, the I don't know, executive director woman. She said, when I got to an Oregon football game, I've got to go down to the stadium. I've got to drive down from Portland to Eugene to go to the stadium. But an important part of this is that I can high-five people that are right next to me. They can create that same experience virtually in the metaverse. They found these types of opportunities could deepen fandom while also making events more inclusive to a wider audience. And, well, I would say, I was saying it wasn't for everyone. It could be for a lot of people that wouldn't normally enjoy sports. But if you give them the virtual reality experience, they may be more inclined to watch.
That's just it. I mean, for anyone who has ever been to a hockey game, it's a completely different experience than watching the game on TV. I don't think hockey on TV is nearly as compelling, but if you tell me that you get the sounds of the sticks and the skates on the ice and you can be on the glass, that changes things for people. It changes their viewing experience and makes them maybe more of a viewer than they would have been.
Kind of cool. Makes you think.
I'm into it. For me, it's the little avatar things are like the gimmicks, and that I think it's a fun thing for some people, but I think the real thing is the much better access to the games that we already love.
All right, up next, should this be punishable by flogging? We have viral TikTok airline news. What this guy did will disgust you. It is 5:59. The club is next on The Fan.
Hello, sports fans.
that's your seat right there, the aisle seat? He's like, yeah, that's my seat. So he gets up. He's like, sure, no problem. He gets up, he moves, and he sits in that seat. And what ends up happening? A woman comes up and says, that's my seat, to the man who moved.
Oh. Okay. I think I see what he's brewing up here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should see it. He knew that he had the middle seat. He lied to the guy that he had the aisle seat.
And now it's
got him to move.
And now it's that guy's problem.
And now it's that guy's problem, and that guy has to sit in the middle. What the hell, man?
But aren't they pretty... It's pretty easy to figure out where that guy belongs, though, right? Back in his middle seat?
Which guy? The father?
The
or
first
the guy?
one. The guy who's doing the
Yes,
dance.
he belongs back in the middle seat, but that's not what happened.
But I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to get to the bottom of that. Like, okay, someone told me I had an aisle seat. Well, which one? Where's his seat?
Yeah.
Like then you go to the flight attendant, right? Like, why wouldn't you just...
Well, two things. One, they said that everybody in the whole area knew that that guy was totally lying once the woman came and sat in that seat. And they also said that when the other thing that was an important factor here is that the guy who moved was a super nice guy. And he was like, I don't care. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to sit here. It didn't say what the flight was, like how long the flight was. It must not have been that long. But they did say that the switchee was bigger and older. He was an older guy. Bigger person. So middle seat was going to be trouble for him. But they said that he was super nice and he switched and he didn't really want to make a stink out of it. But there were a lot of people that were pissed about it around him, and they went to, they were kind of looking back at the father who took the aisle seat.
Sure.
And he would not. His head was buried in his phone and he would not look up.
Yeah, I mean, basically I know I'm in the wrong. I'm
Yes.
caught. I'm just going to ignore it and hope it goes away.
Yeah, he knew.
To me, that's not even that great of a move because
No.
it only worked long enough.
No, he just lied.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He just lied, and you got found out before it even mattered, right? Like,
Well,
I mean, did he get to keep the seat?
Yes, he sat next to his kids.
See, that-
The guy didn't want to cause a problem, and he didn't.
I would have caused a problem on his behalf.
Would you have?
I don't know. Probably not.
That
I would've
was
minded
going to
my
be
own
my
business.
question. I know Suk would have. Dude, that guy gets in everyone's business. He can't help it. Everybody's always talking about, he's like, all this stuff keeps happening to me. No, you love it. Because, dude, none of that stuff happens to me. I'm not getting involved. And I wouldn't get involved in this. I would feel terrible for the guy, but I'm not opening that can
Yeah,
of worms.
I'd
That's
be the
not my
person
fight.
that says, dude, that sucks. And if someone around me asked and said, did this happen? Or like, which guy was it? I'd be like, yeah,
Oh,
it was
totally.
that jackass over there. But
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'm going to get up and like hail the attendant and say, no, man, you got to come back to your, like, I'm not going to be that guy.
And I'm not approaching the aisle guy. He's an ass. Screw that guy.
Well, I would have no problem letting him know that he's an ass.
Yeah, and people did. They said that people did
Good.
on the flight. Everybody
Good.
knew that he was lying, and they were like, man, and he knew it. That guy didn't care. He knew it. He had no shame. But Sukanik would have gotten up and gotten in that guy's face. And I would have been there for it with my popcorn and my cocktail, but I don't want any part of it. But would you have, like, if you're adjacent there, you're kind of sitting right there watching the whole thing unfold, are you getting involved? You're
Dude,
not?
he's such an effing loser.
You're not getting
No,
involved. I'm not getting involved.
So right next to him?
Yeah, you're just right there. You see everything go down.
If I see...
I think a lot of people are having a problem with
Here's
this
the
guy.
here's the thing. If I see that he's pulling a fast one on someone and I know that he's pulling a fast one on someone, I'm giving that person a heads up that they're getting duped by this jackass.
Yeah, but nobody knew that.
So after the fact, am I saying something to that guy?
Yeah, to the guy who switched to sit next to his kids. The a-hole, the guy that
Yeah. I
lied.
mean, I'm telling him I think that he's an a-hole. But like, what am I going to do? Like, forcibly remove him or go tell the
No.
flight attendant kick this guy out of the seat for being an a-hole?
No,
I mean,
you can't do
I
that.
guess I could, but like, I'm not gonna physically approach this person. I might tell him what I think of him.
You would do that then?
Yeah, I think I'd tell him I think you're a jackass. That's a pathetic move.
Yeah, good on
and you're
you.
a pathetic human.
Nice. Yeah, that's infuriating, right? If you're sitting there watching that.
Like, if the seat is that important to you, then act like it when you're booking your flight.
Well, it kind of bothers me. It bothers me in general when people, and I get it, sometimes you can't find all the seats together. But if you really want to sit together, you can. You just have to plan it.
Definitely. And I think on most flights, I can't say every flight, but I would imagine most flights, if you have a family of 3 that wants a row together, you can usually get a stranger who's in a middle seat to just move to another middle seat so your whole family can sit together. People are usually willing to accommodate one parent with 2 kids. That's not that uncommon. Happens all the time. So why couldn't this guy just ask people around him, hey, I'd like to sit with my kids. Would you mind switching? I know that the whole middle seat thing, but then switch with someone who has a middle seat, and then you can switch with your kid who has an aisle seat or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I didn't think about that.
If you're ending up with your kids, you can sit in whatever those 3 seats you want.
Yeah, somebody texted and said, if Swindled Guy had an issue, all he has to do is demand his seat back.
Right, that's true too.
If he didn't view it as a big issue, nobody else would either. And that's right.
Unless it is a not assigned Southwest type of a situation, A, B, C, like first come, first serve. But I don't know how it would be. Sounds like it was an assigned issue.
Look, if you want to sit, here's a PSA. If you want to sit with your kids on a flight, book seats next to each other to sit in.
Of course.
And if you can't get that, that's your fault.
Right. And
it's too late.
Be above board and ask people around you. And if they still say no, then that's tough going.
That's right. And by the way, this article, at the end of this article, one of the people was quoted, a commenter on this on TikTok was quoted as saying, a plane is the only place you won't catch me being a people pleaser. Dude, hallelujah.
Yep.
I'm the same way.
I'm there too.
I am such a people pleaser. Dude, none of this stuff matters to me enough for me to, like, I will usually just I don't care. Just, here's your seat, whatever. Or outside of the airplane, I'm saying, I'll bend over backwards for you as a stranger. Don't care. You want to cut in line? Cut in line. Don't care. But when it comes to seats on an airplane, I'm not a people pleaser.
Yeah, well, I generally, when it comes to people cutting the line, I don't really tolerate it anywhere. I'll speak up anywhere. I mean, if you have a good reason, fine. You've got an emergency. Your kid's crying, whatever. I'm reasonable and understanding, but don't try to act like you're smarter than everybody here and also cheat the system that we've all kind of agreed to as society. Like, that's garbage.
So it is garbage, and I agree with you, but I won't say anything.
Yeah, I'm full of just enough pee and vinegar that I'll say something. Yeah. It really bothers me because then I have the why do you think you're better than all of us thing.
Yeah.
If you have a greater need than all of us, fine. I can be understanding of that. But don't lie to me about it, and don't pretend like you're doing just like everyone else when you're not.
That's really what it is when you get in these public spaces, man. These people that think that the rules don't apply to them.
There's still a public contract, or at least there should be.
That's right. They're obnoxious. It's really obnoxious.
I like the person on the Vancouver 4 text line that says, I want to know what age the kids were. I might need to make sure that they know their dad is a jackass.
What age were the kids? I don't think it says. Yeah, it doesn't say on here. Anyway, I thought that was horrible.
Agreed.
That dude. All right. There is a question floating on internet that has been posed to women, and their answers are outraging men. That is next in the club on the Fan. Hey, I'm going to stick around and tell you about Window Nation and the new be alone in the woods with a man or a bear?
Are you asking me? Or are you asking?
Well, no,
That's just what was presented to them.
This is the question to women.
To women.
Would you rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear? And this hypothetical question has torn men up because
they can't possibly fathom.
They can't possibly fathom why
That
women
many
are
women-
saying
yeah.
bear.
Yeah.
And they are.
In probably pretty high percentages.
Well, they're saying here, this is
Or higher than you would think, at least.
This comes from CNN. While there's no unanimous answer, a good number of women have made it clear that they would prefer the bear. This has sparked anger amongst men online, but more than that, it has snowballed into a valuable discussion about violence against women and how danger doesn't always take the shape of a wild animal on the prowl. So to me, this is great. This is absolutely great. And the more people that hear about this, particularly men that don't understand it, and the more they maybe could wrap their head around it, the better off we'll be. Although some of these men, there's no helping.
No, it's the snowflake hardo who who is so enraged by this that doesn't realize that there are reasons why.
So there's one TikTok video. It's viewed more than 17 million times. The interviewer asks 8 women on the street whether they'd rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear. 7 out of the 8, with very little hesitation, said bear.
Yeah. I think not knowing the nature of the man you're with, you could probably assume what the bear's going to be like. But you have no idea what kind of man you're going to get stuck with.
If you still don't understand that, like, I'm sure there are a lot of people like, what? Why would they? Look, the bear is predictable. The bear can rip your face off, and if it wants to, it will. But the man with the brain, much smarter than the bear, is way more dangerous. Although he can't rip your face off like the bear, he can kill you.
He can still do plenty of awful things to you.
And he can also do all these other things that the bear would never do.
Right.
So when asked why they would pick the bear, women all give some iteration of the same answer. With the bear, you know what the dangers are. They know, at least in theory, how to survive the encounter. Some comments. You know what to expect from a bear. Another one says, absolutely a bear. Humans are capable of so much worse. And then one commenter said, bear, because if I got attacked by a bear, people would believe me. That's also true.
Yep.
So it says it's impossible to conduct a statistical analysis on whether one particular man would be more dangerous than one particular bear, especially since we all spread a lot more of our daily existence in proximity to men than wild bears.
Yeah, bears might be carnivorous and violent, but they're not creeps, you know?
Exactly.
and that's
the whole point.
They don't want to roll the dice that they're stuck in the woods with a creep. You'd rather be with a bear than a creep.
What a lot of men don't understand is how uncomfortable men make women, even if they're not meaning to.
Trying to be normal, yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that women would even consider this means we have utterly failed as a society of men. It's true. I mean, it really is true.
Yeah, if
and it has nothing to do with
if half the
survival
planet
skills.
has that much distrust against the other half of the planet, there's a problem here.
According to data from the UN, almost 89,000 women and girls were intentionally killed worldwide in 2022.
89,000?
UN data also shows that 1 in 3 women across the world have experienced intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence. Categories that include domestic violence and rape. That does not include sexual harassment or other situations that can put women in a fear for her life. The UN's data claims a sizable majority of women, parliamentarians, and journalists have experienced psychological violence in the public sphere, a specific statistic, but one that shows how deep into a woman's existence the threat of violence can go. And that's it right there. So a lot of the critics here are going to miss the point.
Most of the critics will miss the point. Most of the people who are being critical will be critical because they don't understand the point. Not because they get it and disagree with it.
Yeah, one X post shows a cartoon of a woman telling a bear she's glad to be stuck with it instead of a man. And then in the second panel, the bear, of course, has violently mauled her. Someone says, well, help me understand the math. Women said they feel safer with a bear than a man, so in response, you as a man decide to create imagery of them being violently dissected to prove that you're not violent and are safe to be around.
You're proving their point.
Exactly. This kind of unintentional proof of theory has frustrated women who feel like some men genuinely don't understand or care to understand what it feels like to never feel entirely safe around other people. And that's just it.
Yep.
Guys, the world was created by us and for us. We are cookie dough soft because of it. We have a lot of built-in advantages. You need to see that. You need to understand that. And the sooner we realize what it's like to stand in women's shoes or minority shoes, the better off we'll be. And if you're still screaming at your radio, you're a lost cause. Go away.
That's about right.
But I thought that question was great. And the answers were even better.
Now, the question that I have is, are those 7 of 8 100% truthful? Like, if you gave them the truth serum, would they really rather try? Like, if you basically had a person out in the woods and you had a box and behind one door was a man and one door was a bear and you gave the person the choice, are they still? I mean,
it's a no.
I know,
no.
Right? But so.
But I think that's.
But I think there are still some that would take their chances with the bear.
Well, again, it depends on which man. I guess in some
bear versus mystery man, a lot of people take bear because it's the known commodity.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some degree it matters which bear.
Realistically, you'd have to roll the dice and hope you didn't get a creeper man, and just at least I think.
I think the point that's a bad way to phrase the question. I think the better way is if you are in the woods and you are stuck and lost.
Would you rather encounter?
And there is a bear nearby. Would you rather have that? Or we can eliminate the bear, but there is a stranger man.
A strange man nearby.
I think they're taking the bear.
I think so too.
Predictable.
I think that's fair.
And most of them are saying so. Anyway, that question blew up the internet and men's heads. Probably still blowing all over the country. All right, yesterday we talked about music feuds and why it's only in R&B and rap that we get diss tracks. Well, then Buck stumbled across a story of the top 50 feuds in music.
I think it was 30, but yeah.
Top 30, okay. Well, on there was Elton John, Madonna.
Yeah, I had no idea they had beef.
And dude, these Elton John quotes are legendary.
They're vicious.
We'll tell you what he said about Madonna next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on The Fan. In the association tonight, the Boston Celtics win Game 1 over the Cleveland Cavaliers, 120-95. Your final, Jaylen Brown finishes with 32 points for Boston. Coming up in just a matter of moments, tip-off between the Oklahoma City Thunder as well as the Dallas Mavericks. It's Game 1 of that series. OKC is favored by 3.5. On the ice, the Portland Winterhawks are the WHL's Western Conference champs. They await the winner of tonight's Game 7 between Saskatoon and Moose Jaw that just got underway. In the NHL tonight, the Rangers looking to take a 2-0 series lead, but they're tied 3-3 halfway through the third period with the Hurricanes. 10 minutes left in that one. Elsewhere in the National Hockey League, it's Game 1 between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. That one's starting in just a matter of moments as well over on ESPN. The Mariners, meanwhile, looking to bounce back from last night's loss to the Twins with Emerson Hancock on the hill. Things started out okay with them taking a 2-0 lead, but they gave up 4 in the third and now trail 4-2 in the top of the 7th. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's back. The 10th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Thursday, July 11th. Presented by Autotown GMC. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com.
absolutely filleted her. This was apparently from 2002. Sir Elton slammed her 007 title song, Die Another Day. And he called it the worst Bond theme ever. So this really wasn't a feud. He just hated Madonna.
Yeah, and when her Bond song was up for an award, he's like, this Bond song sucks and it's the worst Bond song ever.
Yeah, so fast forward to October of 2004, or 2004. And they're at England's Q Awards. While accepting a songwriter honor, Elton John took offense to the fact that Madonna's name was included in the Best Live Act nominations. So he gets up there and he goes, Madonna, Best Live Act, F off. Since when has lip syncing been live? Sorry about that, but I think everybody who lip syncs on stage in public when you pay like 75 quid to see them should be shot. Thank you very much. That's me off her Christmas card list. But do I give a toss? No. Then it says he sent her 2 Christmas cards the next year and they were both returned. So then he goes off on her again in an interview later that August. And he's talking to an Australian television station and he says, why is she such a nightmare? Sorry, her career is over. Her tour has been a disaster and it couldn't happen to a bigger see you next Tuesday.
What? Yeah.
God.
Like, what? Why was he so bothered by
I don't
her?
know. He says if Madonna had any common sense, she would have made a record like Ray of Light, stayed away from the dance stuff, and just been a great pop singer and made great pop records, which she does brilliantly. But no, he trailed off before serving the final piece de resistance, and she looks like an effing fairground stripper.
Yeah, I mean,
God.
Top rope. Like, so
he hated her.
I guess.
I don't know why. I don't know what pissed him off so much about it. And I didn't even know Elton John was that opinionated. Did you know that?
I think I knew that he could get kind of spicy.
Yeah,
maybe not like that.
Well, he said that later, this was 10 years later or so, they were both dining at a restaurant in the south of France. How about that? Both of them in the same restaurant.
Must be a nice restaurant.
It must be, yeah. You ever been in a in a restaurant with someone famous and then looked over and saw someone more famous?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have.
I've been in a restaurant with someone famous, but I don't think I've looked over and then saw someone more famous.
Who is the most famous person you've seen in a restaurant?
When I was a kid, I ran into Pete Rose at brunch.
Really?
Yeah. He was doing like some celebrity softball game at the San Francisco Giants Stadium, and they were all staying at a hotel nearby where I was going to brunch with my grandparents. Pete Rose was there. So was Ozzie Smith.
I golfed with Ozzie Smith once. Could not be a nicer man.
He seemed very nice.
He is a wonderful human. For me, it's Jared Leto and LeBron James.
Oh.
But not on the same night.
I was going to say, which one did you see first?
Both in Vegas. LeBron first. They won the title. We were at the Wynn when they won the title with the Cavs, the second one, when he went back.
Mm-hmm.
And they all, the Cavs flew to Vegas. Well,
right.
now it's a thing.
They went straight to Vegas,
Yeah.
but because they won it in Golden State. So they instead of going back to Cleveland, they went to Vegas.
Yeah. And they were all down there. I took a selfie with who's that big white center? God, he was housed. Skidishvili or something like that. I don't know, one of those guys. Anyway, he wanted nothing to do with me.
Is it Drunas Ilgauskas? No.
Maybe it was Zilgauskas. I think that's right.
Anderson Varejao?
It wasn't him.
I don't think Ilgauskas was on the championship team, but anyways.
It's the one where J.R. Smith took off his shirt
they
in the club
beat the
and stuff.
Warriors after being down 3-1. It was that big title.
Well, anyway, LeBron was surrounded by like 20 people, none of his teammates, and he rolled into Allegra, the little Italian restaurant there, and he just sat in the back by him with all his posse. No Cavaliers or anything, just quiet little night. It was kind of weird. All the other guys were in the club partying,
That
getting
is
housed.
strange.
And the other one was stupid Jared Leto, just by happenstance, in Vegas. But they were both in a restaurant in the south of France. She walks in, he sees her, he sends her a note saying, "You'll probably never speak to me again, but I'm really sorry and ashamed of myself, and can I buy you dinner?" And apparently she was very gracious, and she accepted the dinner, and they talked, and they're fine. But for whatever reason, that got in Elton John's bonnet.
I guess. And didn't you say it was the gap there, like 8 years? It was like 2004 to 2012 or something? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 2012, they were dining. You ever been to the south of France?
I never have, although I do follow
I want to go there.
I do too. I follow like a Portland, it's called like Escape Portland Flight Deals or something, and I saw they were advertising Portland to Nice in September for like under $500, so I might have to look into that.
Under 500?
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. It's the only way I travel. It's the only way I can afford to travel.
I got to tell you, you have said this before. You and your wife are very good bargain hunters for travel. I am not. I don't have the patience for that. And I probably cost myself money.
Well,
but what are the tricks?
Well, it's one of those things that I think that like we kind of have to do it out of necessity. Like if I'm paying full freight for a flight to Nice from Portland, like that's going to be $1,600 or something. Like
but like here's how. Okay, let me tell you that. Here's how it works in our house. 1 year we decide we're going to go to Italy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we say, hey, next year let's go to Italy because you plan that way in advance, right? And wife's like, great, I'll look at tickets. I'm basically at that point beholden to ticket prices from that point until it, maybe I get 3 or 4 months, and then I got to book it, right? Or are you saying you go places because it's so cheap to go there? Like you don't decide where you're going first. You look at the cheap places, the bargain places, and you go there.
I would say it's 75% that, and like we just wait, and when a deal finds us that's far enough into the future. We think that's an affordable flight, and it's a way better deal than we're going to get most of the time. So let's book it and then figure out the details of like where we're going to stay and who's going to watch the kids or whatever over the next 6 or 8 months. So it happened to us when we were living in San Francisco. My wife got an email from Travelzoo about San Francisco to Tokyo round trip for $400. We booked it on that day. It had 48 hours to decide or something like that.
See, the other thing about when I get those, I see those ads.
Mm-hmm.
That's never accurate. Like they say, oh, fly to Vegas for $60.
Well, sometimes there are parameters, like you have to leave on a Tuesday at 6 a.m. or something like that. But like,
then they add taxes and they add all that. Before you know it, you're paying $200.
It was still a legit, but like you're paying those taxes anyways when you pay for a regular flight. If you're paying $1,000, they're still going to add that same $200. So I think
let's put it this way: I never find really good airfare deals. Almost never. I will, and I'm not paying a premium. I'm not sitting first class. No. I'm just, it's kind of like you watch the prices and it's like, okay, this is about what it costs and I just buy it.
But the other thing that my wife's really good at is she'll brainstorm a place that she wants to go or that we want to go. And then she'll put alerts on for that city with different
with what?
With different apps. So there's like Hopper, Kayak, Skyscanner, stuff like that. And some of those like Hopper will project this price is likely to go down or is likely to go up. Like it's not going to get any better, or like trends show that if you do want to make this trip, you're not going to get a better deal than you will today. Or no. We know it's only 8 weeks out, but you should still wait a couple weeks and see.
Hopper is helpful in that regard. But isn't Hopper too the one where it will book you onto legs of flight, like different legs that you may not think?
Can't, I mean, the whole thing has to be massaged, and it's not like you have to wade your way through it and sometimes make some changes. Like it's not the most convenient way to do it, but that's why it costs less. So,
all right. So you're going to? Where'd you say you were going?
Nice. Well, we're not actually going. I mean, I just saw the deal pop up the other day. It was like $460 to go from Portland to Nice in September, which seemed great.
Yeah, September. That's big football time here, bro.
I know. Well, that's why I'm probably not going, among other reasons. We probably just can't afford to go to France right now.
And every once in a while, I'll click on those links that are like, oh, here's how to save money when you travel, or here's how to like get great deals. And I don't know. I think it's a lot of bullshit.
Text line pointing out it was Timofey Mozgov who you selfied with.
Oh, was that who it was?
Yeah.
I still have the photo. It's kind of like a blurry selfie. He's holding the trophy.
Or maybe so it's really a selfie of you and the trophy.
Maybe it was a fake trophy. Now that I think about it. But he was drunk.
Well, I would hope they all were.
Well, LeBron wasn't. He was being a
Yeah.
little bitch.
Is that?
I don't even know if he drinks. Does LeBron drink? Well, he does. He drinks wine on his podcast.
He has like tequila too, doesn't he?
I don't know.
But is that one of those things that should be surprising that isn't? That LeBron doesn't hang out with his teammates or get drunk after winning the championship?
No, it was very on brand.
Yeah.
But it was just.
But it's still strange
It was
when you
weird.
see it, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Well, and he went there. Like, they have a lot of great restaurants in the Wynn.
Mhm.
He went to Allegra. It's like maybe it was the only one. I guess it was late. It was like 2 in the morning or something.
It was open, and
yeah, it
they're
was
like,
open.
we can take all 20 of you.
Yeah. All right, we'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube, Twitch, and now Window Nation brings you the window into the Fan. On-demand YouTube video shorts with your favorite fan shows and hosts. The window into the Fan is brought to you.
I think, because Jordan's in here. And then Joe Fisher is in here. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together that Patrick will be here soon and it will be Hot Corner.
That's
Now,
right.
Jordan is a cologne wearer. Schulte. He's got his...
Schulte always smells nice.
Yeah. Yeah, of the fan personalities, Schulte may be at the top. Of fan personalities that smell the best, Schulte may be at the top.
I think so.
Now, this is going to shock you. Well, I guess it depends on when you catch him, but most days, Suk smells delightful.
Most days when he gets here, Suk smells awful.
Yeah, because he comes from workouts.
Yeah, I often get to record stuff in the little room with him when the door closed, and
But
he's all like
he's
jujitsu stinky.
He's a lotion guy.
Yeah, he does. He cleans up.
And I got to tell you,
takes care of his hygiene well afterwards.
whatever lotion he buys and smears all over that hot white body, it smells great. Of course, I can't judge myself because I don't know. I do have cologne. I don't always wear it.
I
Only
have
on
cologne.
special occasions.
I'll give it a spray, but like I don't think I have like a scent that lingers with me like that. And sometimes I'm a little envious of that. I like being
You
around
like
the guy that
cologne
smells
guy?
good. Well,
Yeah.
not. It's tough. It can be oppressive. It's a fine line. But I think that both Schulte and Suk have it figured out. It doesn't cross that line.
No, you're right. It can be oppressive. Schulte's a little strong. Like, Schulte's the strongest smell of anyone.
But it's more fresh smelling than it is like, oh, that's a lot of cologne. At least I think.
Yeah. Well, it's like the guy at the club. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can smell it.
You know who else always smells great?
Me.
Maybe.
Well,
Brian Blair.
Oh, Brian Blair, yes. He's one of our production guys.
Yeah.
He
does production work for a lot of the stations.
Yes, and I don't know what that is. He does have a musk.
I don't know if it's like an aftershave or maybe it's also a lotion, but you pass that guy and you're like, man, he smells great.
There are two people, and I've been in this, well, not this particular building, but I've been at this company for over 20 years. And there are two people that even if they're not in the room, you can smell that
they've
were.
been in the room. Yeah.
One is Brian Blair.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is not a bad thing. He smells great. I don't know what he uses, but he's used the same thing for 20 years. And you can always tell when he's been around. He smells delightful. And the other is Daria. Do you remember Daria?
I don't think I crossed paths with Daria. I don't think that was around my tenure.
Daria was great. A wonderful Portland radio personality, a legend. And if she was here, you could smell her perfume, and it was a delight. She once pressed her boobs up against the window for Colin Cowherd.
Cool.
One morning, because I used to be Colin. I was the update guy, and Colin was doing the show. And Daria was doing a morning show down the hall, and she once literally walked up to the window, lifted her shirt, and dropped her boobs on the glass.
And did that? And what? The window smelled nice for days after that, or something? Or it was just a nice story about her boobs?
Well, we don't need to get creepy.
I thought you were talking about her scent.
I was. Just thought I'd tell you a boob story. She's great. I miss her. She's wonderful. Love Daria.
Show you my boobs.
Anyway, those two are delightful smelling. Now I've been around you in close proximity a lot. I've never smelled you. You don't have a musk.
That's good. I mean, I'd prefer
You
that
want
to
that.
happen. Well,
Yeah.
there are times where I always shower right before I come here. I usually do all of the stuff with the kids in the morning, and then once that's all done, then I'll it's the last thing I do before I come to work. So I should smell fine, but I don't know that I'm ever smelling noticeably nice. Just kind of neutral.
Well, you wear deodorant, right?
I do.
So that sometimes smells.
Yeah,
And
potentially.
then if you throw on cologne and step up your game a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, occasionally I drop a little Mr. Burberry on there. Yeah.
What's that?
It's my cologne. Mr. Burberry.
Is that really what it's called?
It's from the brand Burberry, but that specific one is called Mr. Burberry.
Oh, I have to look that up.
My brother got me custom colognes once for Christmas.
Custom? What is that? You go there and you tell them what?
It's you basically
you tell them you like bourbon and they make a cologne,
or you tell them what scents you do and don't like. You tell them the type of workspace that you work in. So if it's open or they want to make sure the scents aren't too strong. And then they give you a work and a play cologne. So you basically have a daytime cologne and a nighttime cologne.
Okay.
Company was called Hawthorne, and I like both the scents. I like the work scent more than I like the play scent, but they're both good.
Well, I got to tell you, when you get a guy, like in Vegas, you get this a lot, where you just get the pungent odor.
Yeah.
With the cologne and stuff, it can be very off-putting, but I'm jealous of guys who rock that. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
They just splash it on.
You've spent a fair deal of time around these people. Do you feel like sports analysts, like former athletes, always smell good? I feel like various hockey, basketball, baseball analysts I've worked with in TV and stuff, they always roll into the studio smelling like they just left a spa.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never noticed that.
But maybe it's because it's not as much of a radio thing. They're getting dressed up for TV, so they're doing a full primp. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, we've covered everything today. I'm out of energy. I got to golf in the morning. Suk will be back tomorrow. I'll let him carry me. This is hard work.
You're not running for president of Asia.
Maybe I'll run for president of Asia.
This son of a bitch. Holy cow.
Looking forward to the big fella coming back in here. He's supposed to be back tomorrow.
A sports Woody?
Are we sure he's back tomorrow?
See, I thought it was Thursday.
Oh,
but maybe
it
it's
is.
tomorrow.
All
I don't know.
Well, look, let's all be surprised together at 3 o'clock tomorrow. How about that? Up next, it is Hot Corner with Harris and Joe and Schultze. We're back tomorrow, 3 to 7 on The Fan. Good night. Laurelhurst